Cub broadcast.
And we
in the Bay Area, Pacific Bellpark, home of the Giants, it's ESPN's day game. Leaders from each division, the Giants in the West, Cardinals in the Central, and St. Louis with a roster star-studded, full of players headed for the midseason classic in Chicago next week. Great clutch hitting as well, even by the shortstop. And of course, Barry Bonds, one of the all-time greats for the Giants. On a perfect Bay Area day, a marquee matchup. Cardinals haven't been that great on the road this year. The Giants have been good at home. Each leads its division. St. Louis in the Central by a game over the Cubs, who are playing right now, as well as Houston. Giants 5 over the resurgent Diamondbacks in the West. And even the Dodgers have fallen off the pace now, 7.5 games out. We've got a full day for you on our day game today. Later on, Jim Edmonds talks with Jeff Brantley about hitting that high heat. And we'll go back to the early days of Barry Bonds' career and compare him to the unbelievable Albert Pujols.
Audi A8L, the world's most intelligently designed car.
When you want a battery that keeps going, and going, and going, and going. Energizer Max. Do you have the bunny inside?
Got the bunny inside.
I've made a lot of news on the baseball diamond, but if you want to find out about this diamond, you got to go talk to your doctor.
See your doctor and find out if Viagra's right for you.
My doctor says it's right for me. That's why I stay with it. For more information, go to Viagra.com.
You won't believe what Pizza Hut's got for you now.
Hey, here's your Pizza Hut pizza. Hey, with all dogs go to heaven too. You know the story, dog meets dog, dog loses dog. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll howl.
The DVD is yours to keep when you buy a large Pizza Hut pizza at regular price. Choose from 4, count them 4, comedy classics like Mr. Mom and Honeymoon in Vegas, and spend the night in Ha Ha Land.
I give it 2 paws up.
I concur. Pizza Hut pizza and a DVD on us. You only get it when you gather around the good stuff.
When Jeff and Sharon's baby arrived, they knew their needs would change overnight.
We need a bigger house, maybe a minivan. And what about college?
What they didn't know was I could help.
Now the same State Farm agent who helped you plan for just in case can help you with what could be. With auto loans, mortgages, even college funding.
Minivan.
For help with banking, insurance, and investing, talk to your agent today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome to Sirius, the world's only satellite radio service with 100% commercial-free music. 100 streams, including 13 rock, 10 pop, and 9 hip-hop and R&B, plus sports news and entertainment. And now, take it from your car to your home. The $99 plug-and-play. Rock the house. Rock the car. Rock wherever. 100 streams of satellite radio. Sirius. It's on.
Get out, get out, get out.
ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. And long-lasting Energizer. Do you have the bunny inside?
Alcatraz not that far away, and somewhere under that scoreboard is where Barry Bonds hit a homer here last night. Barry gets the day off today, not in the lineup, but the Cardinals have a lineup that is absolutely loaded. Now they have the rookie Bo Hart with a .407 on-base average, setting the table for Edmonds. Pujols rolling. Today, Eddie Perez gets a start. It's the best hitting lineup in the National League, #1 in batting average, and in runs, and #2 in home runs. Bob Carpenter, Jeff Brantley, have you ever seen a young hitter more mature at 23 than Albert Pujols?
I really haven't, and watching Albert Pujols tells me that he's an unselfish player. A lot of times last year we saw him play third base. He played left field. He's playing first base today. And when you're an unselfish player, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of you. All you're trying to do is win baseball games. If you watch Albert Pujols hit, he makes an adjustment to every pitch that comes to the plate. He'll hit the ball to the right side. He'll hit you a home run late in the ball game. I love watching this kid play.
Mature beyond his years. Now, the Giants are known for consistency. Whether it's interleague ball or National League best teams, they seem to get the job done against just about everybody.
Well, they have, and their schedule has been really crazy, especially for the middle of the season. They played the Dodgers. They played the Oakland A's. They played the Cardinals for 6 ball games. I mean, this has been a tough season so far for the Giants, and they've held on to first place. Whenever you're playing the Cardinals or the A's or the Dodgers, this is like a playoff atmosphere. It really takes their toll on you, and the reason they've been able to do this is because of their pitching. Their pitching has been so well, and this ball club is using some young guys. Jerome Williams pitched last night and pitched very well. Reeder has had a great career against the Cardinals. Last time out, he had a difficult time. We'll see if he can make some adjustments and some improvements in today's ball game.
Cardinals lit him up for 9 hits and 8 runs in just 3 innings last week in St. Louis. Giants defense, the best in the National League. Tied with the Phillies, only 38 RBIs. And a Gold Glover over there on the right side.
Anytime that you have a first baseman of J.T. Snow's ability, he really saves a lot of outs and a lot of errors from your infield. I don't care how great your infield is, they're going to make some throws that are suspect, and this guy just seems to always be able to make the play, keep that foot on first base, and save a lot of errors and extra pitches for the pitcher that's standing on the mound.
6 Gold Gloves for J.T. Snow, who has never played in an All-Star game. Bo Hart leading off for St. Louis. And he takes one low and away. Perfect day in San Francisco, 66 at game time. Hart drives one to right center. Jose Cruz on the run. This ball will hit at the 421 mark. It's at least a triple in this big ballpark out there. And the amazing story of Bo Hart continues. His 3rd triple. He has 5 doubles and a homer, and now he's batting over 370.
What a way to start the game. This kid was talking about his family being here at the ballpark. He's already got his game plan down, looking away, knowing Reeder's going to pitch him away, hits the ball to the deepest part of the park. I know there's at least 50 people sitting in the stands that are standing right now.
Yeah, I cast a glance at that Cardinal pass list in the clubhouse this morning. It had B. Hart written all over it. Great RBI opportunity for Jim Edmonds.
That's the funny part about this game. You assume that all the players get all these free tickets. I guarantee you, before he got on that flight heading to San Francisco, he was asking everybody and their brother, can I have your 4 passes?
And, of course, most rosters feel an abundance of players from the state of California. So Bo Hart at third base leading off Jim Edmonds with a 5-game hitting streak, but only 6 out of 20 during that time. Lifting the ball to left, backing up Pedro Feliz, and that quickly St. Louis will go on top. Edmonds with his 66th run batted in.
You look at this lineup, Bob, and you think to yourself, Jim Edmonds hitting 2nd? I mean, this is normally a 3 or 4 hole guy, maybe 5 hole, and he's hitting in the number 2 spot. That just shows you the sock and the power that this Cardinal lineup possesses.
5 pitches, 1 run for the Cardinals, as they again, at least early, start to solve Kirk Reeder. Here's Albert Pujols. Pretty amazing when you can go 0 for 10 and you're hitting 370. I mean, he is all over the stat sheet. Here's an amazing thing. He leads the National League in hits with 122. And number 2 is also a power hitter, Todd Hilton of Colorado. Pujols has 8 more hits than him. I mean, where are all these little guys who are supposed to be leading the league in hitting? 2 has left, Nafi Perez, who used to play in Colorado, and that's the 2nd out. Going to write in a 6-3 on that scorecard for the 2nd out. Now there's a baseball fan. Pins, buttons, scorecard.
You get those pins for staying for extra inning ball games. I remember at Candlestick, they rewarded the fans for staying in the weather in an extra inning ball game. staying in the fog and the wind blowing all over the place, you get a little pin.
Scott Rowland goes up swinging. Jose Cruz watching it on the track, and that ball is caught. Wow. Back in the shadows, under the brick, up against the fence.
That's a great play right there.
Cardinals showing off some power with a triple. This one nearly an extra base hit. And what a great catch by Jose Cruz.
Coming up on SportsCenter, the latest on TV.
Kirk Reeder gave up some early scoring there, but he came into the dugout with a lot of momentum thanks to his defense and a great play by Jose Cruz Jr.
We've seen a lot of plays from Cruz Jr. in right field, but you can see he gets right to the wall. He knows exactly where he is, and a lot of right fielders you'll see get back to the wall, and as they jump, their glove shoulder will hit the wall, and all of a sudden the ball bounces just off the tip of their glove or just above it, and a lot of times it's because you don't know where the glove is at, where the wall is at.
St. Louis rookie Dan Herron on the mound. Faced the Giants last week, so this is a second big league start. They go up hacking, and Ray Durham flies out to Eduardo Perez. Giants are 6th in the league in batting average, 7th in runs. They've hit 100 homers this year. They're without Barry Bonds in the lineup today, so J.T. Snow is next. Then a veteran Grissom, the youngster Cruz, Edgardo Alfonso, Nafi Perez, Pedro Feliz, and Yorvit Terrialba as they continue to nurse an injured Benito Santiago. I tell you, this kid, nobody could beat him in the minor leagues. He deserved the big league call.
Well, I was talking with Scott Rowland about him yesterday, and he said, JB, he goes, he's a little bit raw, but he's not scared. He said he throws strikes, he gets after it a little bit. And then I said, well, who's catching tomorrow? And he said, Matheny. I said, he doesn't have to worry about it. Matheny brings the brain.
Out of play to the left side. And I asked Mike Matheny this morning what he thought of him after seeing him for one start, and he said Herron's stuff has some good movement. He's not afraid to throw that splitter. He said, but as a veteran catcher working with a young kid, I like his makeup more than anything else. He really knows how to handle himself out there.
And I think that's what Rowland meant by the fact that he's not scared. You can sacrifice maybe not knowing the hitters or sacrifice a little bit of stuff if you're not afraid when you get out there, especially when you've got a catcher like Matheny behind the plate, because you don't have to think that much when you've got Matheny back there. He can call the game.
Mike Matheny is having another Gold Glove caliber year, has not made an error.
Mentally or physically.
Yeah, you never have to worry about the former, do you? And a 2-2. Herron was 6-0 at Double-A Tennessee with an 0.82 ERA. Then at Triple-A Memphis, he was 2-1 with an ERA that was a little high, under 5. But he still found a way to win a couple of ball games. Cardinal defense 3rd in the National League, and a shortstop who's among the best now.
I think if you're Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, all you want from your starting pitchers to be able to throw strikes and challenge the hitters. Make them hit the ball on the ground so you can get Renteria, Rowland, Bohart, and Pujols today, usually Tino Martinez at first base. Get these guys involved. They're going to catch the baseball. The Cardinals can make some plays, but if you're continually walking guys and keeping your defense on their heels, it makes it a little difficult.
Pretty good battle here as J.T. Snow continues to stay alive. Not to be forgotten, the fact the Cardinals have a multi-Gold Glove winner on the disabled list right now as they await the return of Fernando Pena. In his absence, Tony La Russa has gotten great play at second base from Bo Hart.
Well, that's a blessing in itself to be able to have a kid that comes up in the shadow or in the form of David Eckstein. He's come out there and just really lit a fire. And I'll be honest with you, Bob, when you've got a young player that comes to the big leagues and plays as hard as Bo Hart has, it makes all of your veteran players, Renteria, Rowland, Pena, all of these guys play, even Edmonds, I mean, make them play a little bit harder because they see your excitement and your energy. And I love it when you can get a kid that's this young that comes to the big leagues. He's not scared, he's energized. This makes it fun.
And we're not done. There's Pena, who has won the Gold Glove the last 2 years. One of the scrappiest little leadoff guys in baseball. And, of course, Jim Edmonds, who has won Gold Gloves with both the Angels and the Cardinals. What an at-bat by J.T. Snow. 11 pitches That's what you call coaxing a walk. He's aboard with 1 out. Normally for Barry Bonds in this situation, but today it's Marquise Grissom.
I think that's the change in J.T. Snow. A lot in years past, when a pitcher would make a pitcher's pitch, he would actually put the ball in play and get himself out instead of the pitcher getting him out. Whereas now, when he sees a pitcher's pitch or a pitch that's close, borderline in the zone, it's a pitch that he fouls off instead of putting into play. And I think it's improved his on-base percentage, and it's allowed him to get the pitcher to give him pitches in his part of the zone that he knows he can handle.
And how about Marquise Grissom? Turned 36 years of age on April 17th. He's batting 34 points over his career batting average right now.
I know the book on Marquise when he was coming up in Montreal, when he played in Atlanta for a little while, even in his part-time play in Los Angeles. He was always a guy from a scouting report standpoint. As a pitcher, you said, all right, I'm going to get strike 1 with a breaking ball, and I'm not going to throw him another strike. Well, when you're hitting in front of Barry Bonds, you're going to get a lot more strikes. And I think that is the whole key to Marquise Grissom's resurgence, is the fact that he's getting a lot more pitches in the zone, and those are the pitches that he's always been able to handle, inside or out.
Well, the rookie struggling now, 3-0 on Grissom. Obviously a leadoff man most of his major league career. But other places in the order not hitting that great, but today he's got a chance to do some damage with Cruz hitting the ball pretty well in the cleanup spot behind him. A hitter's count, and he's taking on 3-0.
And part of hitting leadoff is, you know, as you're going to get some pitches that are over the plate early in the ball game. From a pitcher standpoint, the last thing you want to do is walk the leadoff hitter, and that works right into Marquise Grissom's favor. But it also works in his favor hitting in front of Bonds, because the last thing you want to do is walk anybody hitting in front of Barry.
Fair ball, so's the bat. Rolen has to do a double pump, and he throws the ball into the dirt. Over to third is Snow. Grissom into second. And a rare Cardinal defensive mistake opens up a possible big inning here. You would have to think the bat distracted Scott Rolen to a certain extent.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I don't think Rolen actually saw the bat coming by until he fields the ball and starts to look up. You can see the bat. Here it comes right there. That bat is right in front of him, right in his line of vision as he turns to throw to second base. And that just shows you how much concentration is involved in playing this game of baseball. Just the slightest bit of off-kilter concentration, the ball goes in right field, and now we've got runners at second and third.
Jose Cruz Jr. No telling how many runs he saved with that catch he made, after Kirk Reeder had already given up a triple and a sac fly in the first. He took a double, maybe a triple away from Rolen. Now he has a chance to drive in a couple.
Cruz Jr. started out hot hitting when he got over here to the National League, and the more times pitchers face you, especially in this division with the Dodgers pitching, they're going to change their game plan. And now it's up to Jose Cruz Jr. to basically make some adjustments to how the pitchers are pitching him in the National League.
A fielder's choice on Grissom, an error on Rolen, and a quick 0-2 count.
To be honest with you, Bob, I think the toughest thing for a switch hitter to do is to be hitting from the left side and getting yourself in a groove, and all of a sudden you face 7 or 8 right-handers in a row, and then all of a sudden you have to switch over to the opposite side and face a guy like Randy Johnson or Reeder or somebody like that that really throws you off kilter.
This ball high in the air, but well foul into the right field corner. The ballpark is absolutely packed. Last night, the Giants drew almost 43,000, their second largest crowd of the year. And I'm looking at the capacity of Pac Bell Park, 41,503, and there were almost 43,000 in here last night.
You could almost close your eyes, Bob, and listening to the crowd and hearing the buzz in the stadium, you could be in St. Louis just as easily as you could be here. I mean, this is a St. Louis crowd, let's be honest.
1-2 pitch. Although I must admit, San Francisco Bay is a little whiter than the mighty Mississippi. They don't quite have the same view in downtown St. Louis as they have here.
Well, it's black and orange here, and it's solid red in Cardinal country, but it's still packed with fans, and that's what you love to see in baseball is fans coming out to the ballpark, and that's what Bo Hart was talking about when I was talking to him before the ballgame. He said, you know, he goes, JB, you come to the big leagues and you're excited about playing, and you get to play in a place like St. Louis with all the fans screaming and hollering. He goes, you can't help but go out there and play hard.
23 pitches, only one batter retired. Now he goes full on Jose Cruz Jr. with a veteran hitter on deck who might be batting with the bases loaded. Edgardo Alfonso, the former Met, having a tough year, but he's dangerous in these situations. There's a drive, deep right field. See you later. Into the water, and the Giants lead 3-1.
Jumped out in front early and never gave it back up. Looks like a changeup, 3-2 changeup from Herron. Left it middle in, and Jose Cruz Jr. hits it in the water.
Evidently nobody expecting a ball in the bay because no boats are out there waiting. Normally that thing's been scooped up by now.
Well, without Barry in the lineup, they just decided, well, who else is going to hit it out here?
Dave Duncan has made a visit to the St. Louis rookie pitcher, Dan Herron, who just gave up a home run for the first time in the big leagues. And they've managed to net that home run ball for Jose Cruz Jr., his 15th of the year. So the Giants have hit their 101st homer of the year.
How about this guy standing at the plate, Bob? Edgardo Alfonso comes over here, much heralded as far as being a batting average hitter and a guy that could really hit the ball out of the ballpark, and he has absolutely struggled in this Giants uniform. He's one of my biggest disappointments of this year. I really thought he would do much, much better than what he's done here.
60-plus points lower than his career batting average.
And I can remember facing this guy. I thought he was one of the toughest hitters to face when he was in a Mets uniform. But ever since he had those back problems, it seems like the time that he spent away from the game really took their toll. Or maybe it's just that number 13. What do you think?
I think if I was a superstitious ball player, I'd have to get rid of that number. 2-2. This one driven up the middle. Edmonds only able to get it on a hop. And after a walk and an error, 2 consecutive base hits. And that homer by Cruz was the 28th splash homer by the Giants since the ballpark opened up 3 years ago.
You can see him rock those hands back just for a minute before that ball gets there. That tells me it's 3-2. He was not looking for a fastball. He was looking for something out over the plate to hit the other way to try to get those runs in. And he gets a changeup in the middle of the plate. Changeup, up, middle. It's a splashdown, all right.
First time Cruz has done that. JT Snow's done it once, Felipe Crespo twice. And of the 28, some guy named Bonds has put it in the water 24 of those times.
Bob, what's the ruling on the splashdown? If it hits the brick and goes into the water, does that count, or does it have to just land in the water?
You know, as far as I'm concerned, Jeff, wet is wet.
That's right.
Nafi Perez with a 7-game hitting streak. And you look at the Giants lineup today without Barry Bonds, it doesn't exactly terrify you if you're an opposing manager, coach, player, or fan. And then with Bonds sitting on the bench, all they do is go out, take advantage of a mistake, and put 3 on the board in the first inning.
But you know, when you say it doesn't terrify you, the one thing, and I remember Dennis Eckersley saying this, he probably said it as best as anybody, the fear of failure is what motivated me. And when you've got a pitcher that's facing the Giants without Barry Bonds, too many times you get a little bit lax in your preparation. You back off a little bit and think, oh, well, I've got it made today. And the next thing you know, it's 3-0. You haven't got anybody out yet.
It was conceivable that that ball hit to Rolen could have been a double play ball because Grissom broke his bat. When that happens, a batter is always slow out of the box. But then Rolen threw the ball away into right field. That opened up the gates for the Giants.
That's probably a big difference between a veteran pitcher and a young pitcher like Danny Herron. anytime that your defense lets you down a little bit, you've got to turn your game up a little bit. You can't let that be an excuse for failure in the first inning, because if you give up too many runs, you're not going to be able to catch up. It doesn't matter how well you pitch. You can go out there, and you see this a lot, Bob, with some older pitchers. They'll give up a hit that turns into an error, and then all of a sudden there's 5 or 6 unearned runs that are scored in that inning. Well, the box score from an ERA standpoint is that you've got 6 runs and only one of them was earned, but you know what? You still lost the game. And the bottom line in the big leagues is wins and losses. It's not about development up here. It's getting it done.
Pitch count up to 35 now for the young man out of Monterey Park, California, who pitched at Pepperdine.
And I'm sure from Athene's standpoint, LaRussa's standpoint, Duncan's standpoint, and Danny Herron's standpoint, and all the Cardinal faithful, they would like to just see Herron get a ground ball right here, start over in the second inning with just 3-run damage. Because if you have to go to the bullpen right now, it's going to make for a long Sunday afternoon.
Felipe Alou on a Tuesday afternoon, which looks pretty good so far. But I hear your point. I know what you're talking about. He had started the runner Alfonso with 1 out in a 3-2 pitch. What a great baseball man Felipe Alou was. He had over 200 homers in his 18 years in the big leagues. In fact, he christened the ballpark in St. Louis in 1966 with a couple of opening night home runs. Ball upstairs. Another walk, 2 on, 1 out. Dan Herron had not walked more than 2 men in any of his 16 minor league starts this year, or his initial major league start last week against the Giants. He's got Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa pacing over there on the right side. And next up is Pedro Feliz, 0 for his last 9.
I never knew the days when I was playing either, Bob. They all ran together. If it's a day game, it's a weekend. They're all the same. Just get ready.
You just keep telling the folks why, and I'll tell them what day it is.
You'll tell them when, I'll tell them why.
He was 6-0 at AA, 2-1 at AAA. Memphis, by the way, the site of our AAA All-Star game next week. Wonderful stadium down there, AutoZone Park, where the Cardinals minor leaguers play. Jim Edmonds camping under this fly ball, and he one-hands it for the second out. Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. It's ESPN's day game on a Tuesday afternoon. Division leaders getting together, Cardinals Central, Giants West. But the Giants have the Cardinals number right now. Beat them 5-1 last night. They've beaten them 4 out of 5 this year. And if you count the LCS, they've beaten St. Louis 8 of the last 10 times these two teams have met.
I would have to believe that no lead is really safe with this Cardinal lineup. And this is a ball club that, can you imagine what they would be like if they played in Colorado? But I think that this really helps the Giants early in this game, but I'm not about to count out the Cardinals with what they run to the plate 1 through 9.
Yorvit Turrialba, the catcher.
Torrialba's really had to step in, especially with Santiago on the mend. It's not just a transition from an offensive standpoint, because Santiago was doing so well swinging the bat, but it's also a transition for the pitchers pitching to a new catcher.
Renteria the short way to Bohart, and a long first inning is over for Dan Herron. 43 pitches, couple of walks in error, and a long homer by Jose Cruz Jr. 3-1 San Francisco.
I want what she wants.
I want what he wants.
For my home.
For my small business.
Unlimited local calls.
Unlimited long distance and high-speed internet access.
Together. For one low monthly price.
On one bill.
So that's what I got.
With MCI Business Complete.
With the neighborhood built by MCI.
No surprises. That's what I want.
Get unlimited local, long distance, and high-speed internet for one low monthly price.
Call 1-800-JOIN-MCI today.
You have like every card.
Yeah, it is pretty dominant.
So here comes O'Callaghan.
No problem. Clear the screen. I am trying.
You clowns been on that top side again?
No.
Yes.
Round trip blah blah to blah blah blah, blah dollars. Blah blah with blah blah on the side, blah dollars. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah dollars. Winning a weekend house and escaping the blah blah blah, priceless. Every time you use your MasterCard, you're automatically entered for a chance to win use of a weekend house for a year. Go to MasterCard.com for details.
As preservationists, Jane and Roger spend every day saving tyres. Their secret? Slime tyre sealant. It's fast, safe, and the results? They're simply amazing. Imagine a world without flats. Slime your tyres.
Get water. As active as you. Propel Fitness Water. With flavor to hydrate and vitamins to nourish.
One top of the second. And Eduardo Perez, another son of a great major leaguer.
Seems like Eduardo has found him a home in St. Louis. He's been able to play a lot of different positions for Tony La Russa and really provided some offensive firepower off the bench. It's not easy to be a pinch hitter anyway in the big leagues and then having to fill different roles in the process.
Well, this guy's got a great attitude. Very positive. His teammates love him. And if you are that kind of player, Jeff, one of the most important things is accepting that role. I'm not an everyday player, and then going out and getting your work done so you're ready whenever the manager asks to call on.
And I think that he has. I think he accepted it when we were playing together in Cincinnati. But Bob, the biggest key for a guy that plays off the bench is getting some semblance of consistent ABs as he goes along. And if you're a bench player and you get no ABs at all, and the only time you get to hit is against Randy Johnson or Curt Schilling, well, guess what? You're not going to be very good. And too many times when you come to negotiations at the end of the year, if you're a guy that's playing off the bench and you're hitting 230, well, guess what? They let you go. And you may have done everything that they asked you to do.
By the way, in that first inning here in San Francisco, where they know a little bit about their football, time of possession, Cardinals 3.5 minutes, Giants 18.5 minutes.
First half.
And you might say a fumble led to all of it.
Yeah.
Low and inside, ball 3. Perez, Renteria, and J.D. Drew for the Cardinals here in the top of the second. Worst thing you can do with a lead is go out and walk the first guy. That's what Kirk Reeder just did. Full slate of ESPN baseball tomorrow on ESPN and the Deuce. We'll start you on our day game. Braves-Mets, high-definition television at noon Eastern. Then Wednesday night baseball. Cardinals fly home tonight. They'll host the Dodgers at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Red Sox, Blue Jays, as those clubs continue their relentless chase of the Yankees. Some of you will get the Yankees at Cleveland tomorrow night. Log on to ESPN.com for more Major League Baseball.
This is a perfect situation for Edgar Renteria. He likes to hit the ball to the right side. J.T. Snow holding on Eduardo Perez at first base. It just creates a larger hole to that second base side, especially with the Reeder pitching away. It pitches right into the strength of Edgar Renteria.
Looking to bunt for a hit. Don't even throw it, Kirk Reeder. Great bunt by Renteria, and the Cardinals have 2 on, nobody out.
The one thing that Renteria does there, he doesn't start running before he makes contact. He gets himself in position, bunts the top half of the baseball, and as you can see, he gets that front part of the fat part of his bat, if you will, towards the pitcher a little bit more. That gives him a great angle to get the ball and shoot it down the third baseline.
How about Renteria? 3-run homer against Reeder last week. So he lays one down about 40 feet up the line for a base hit. He can play some small ball too. J.D. Drew is 0 for his last 11, dealing with a variety of injuries. Starting the year with a bad knee. Wasn't ready the first month. I asked him this morning how he felt, and in typical J.D. Drew deadpan fashion, he said, "Not too bad." Not too good.
Exactly. I don't know that knee's ever going to feel great for this young guy.
When he's right, as good a swing as you'll ever see. And power to spare. J.D. Drew came up in September of '98. That's really the only time he pretty much played every day. He hit his first major league homer in Cincinnati the night after Mark McGwire hit number 62. A 440-foot shot to right center. Pulls this ball, could be 2. Snow to the shortstop, back to the pitcher. A 3-6-1 by the best defense in the National League.
The whole key to that play is Kirk Reeder getting to first base as soon as the ball is hit. The ball's hit to the right side. As a pitcher, you anticipate the double play. You go directly to first base. That way you're not a moving target when Perez comes across the bag. And the whole time in our picture, you can see Reeder getting there. He's already set up at first base, and that makes a difference for a shortstop as he comes across the bag. He's not throwing to a moving target. He's throwing to a still target. Then all of a sudden you got 2 outs. You got a chance to get out of this thing with nothing.
Mike Matheny's had a very good offensive year. His career batting average through 2002 was .235. He's about 40 plus over that. Cardinals are playing their 89th game of the year today, and Matheny behind the plate for the 79th time.
When you look at Kirk Reeder's numbers, he's almost always got more hits than innings pitched, but yet this guy is one of the winningest left-handers that's ever put on a Giants uniform. And the reason that he wins so many ball games is he's always able to make that pitch and get that ground ball double play. You keep your infielders involved in the game by continuing to throw a lot of strikes, which is what he does, but that double play is deadly when you're the opposition and you're the offense.
5-1 at home this year with a 3.31 ERA. He goes nibbling in the outside corner. Reeder and Yorvit Torrealba also know that there's a rookie pitcher on deck to hit next. So they try to get Matheny to chase something. He won't do it. 2 walks in the inning. But in Greg Maddux-like fashion, Kirk Reeder does not give in to the number 8 hitter.
That's just smart pitching. You've got 2 outs, and you've got 2 guys to make that out. If Matheny wants to chase the ball out of the strike zone to hit it, so be it. Let him go after it. But the last thing that you want to do is try to throw Matheny strikes with a rookie hitter standing on deck in a pitcher.
Managed to get a base hit in his major league debut a week ago.
The one thing about Kirk Reeder that makes it so difficult to hit from a Cardinals standpoint or anybody else that the Giants face is that when there's runners on base, he's even more deadly because he throws so many off-speed pitches. You're aggressive when you stand at the plate in an RBI situation, and that's exactly what is Kirk Reeder's game plan. He works quick, keeps the ball away from you, and he changes speeds a lot. Not a whole lot of breaking balls, just fastballs and changeups away. And that's what makes him so effective. I think that's one of the things that Righetti's coming out to talk to Reeder about. Well, now they're looking at his arm. He may have a little injury problem here. Righetti makes the throat cut signal from the mound, and when you make that, that means we got to get him out of here. He's done. That's not good.
Kirk Reeder has left the mound After walking 2 batters in this inning and going 2-0 on Dan Herron, working with a 3-1 lead.
Now that's alarming right there, Bob. Whenever you see a pitcher being taken out of the ball game like that, and he's got his head down as he walks in with the trainer with his arm over his shoulder, that's not good. That tells me something is severely wrong with Kirk Reeder's arm. Let's take a look at this last pitch, and you can see him go away, but I don't see that there's anything there. But Torey Alba obviously sensed something, and so did Nefi Perez, because he comes hustling in, and I don't think they were running out because it was 2-0. I believe there's something wrong with Kirk Reeder.
Giants will go to their bullpen here. Number 41 is Chad Zerbe, the left-hander, but it looks like it'll be a righty when we come back. Top of the second inning. Right-hander Jim Brower getting all the time he needs to warm up. This copyrighted telecast presented by the Authority, the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without expressed written consent. Look for this burst on specially marked boxes of 2003 Major League Baseball trading cards. Watch the All-Star Game on July 15th for your chance to go to the World Series. The question is, who will the home team be? Well, a lull in the action is Jim Brower, who the Giants got from Montreal with a player to be named later in exchange for Levan Hernandez, takes over. After 30 pitches by Kirk Reeder, walked a couple of guys. He got a double play ball in this inning, which was big, but he's got runners at first and third, 2 outs, and with Dan Herron, the pitcher, batting, Jim Brower will inherit a 2-0 count.
The one thing that worries me anytime that you have an injury situation like this, especially with a young pitcher in Brower, is that your adrenaline and your heart is beating very fast when you get out there. So your body says, well, I'm ready, because your mind thinks, well, my heart's beating fast, I'm loose, my blood's going, but then you don't get enough time to get your arm loose, and that usually ends up in trouble. The best benefit for Brower in this situation is he's facing a pitcher. He's got 2 outs. If he can get this guy out, by the time he gets to the dugout and gets back out the next inning, he should be ready to go.
Low, ball 3. On deck hitter is the incomparable Bo Hart if this inning continues, and he tripled and scored first time up. Bases loaded. That walk is charged to Kirk Reeder, and the bases are loaded with 2 outs here in the top of the second.
That's the one thing that's always intrigued me when a pitcher comes in and he's got a 2-0 count. If you walk him, it goes to the guy that just left the game. If you strike him out, you get the credit for it. It's a reliever's dream.
That ball sinking low and inside, ball 1.
And as you can see right now, Brower, and I was talking about this as he faced Herron, your body says you're ready, but you're really not, and this is a tough situation for any pitcher to come into.
That ball hit right to the second baseman, Ray Durham. Giants are out of the inning. Cardinals get a hit and 3 walks and do not score. 3-1 Giants. Well, if you wanted to send somebody a postcard of a San Francisco day, you would take that snapshot today. The breeze blowing out toward left, and the Giants have already left the yard once with Jose Cruz Jr. St. Louis rookie Bo Herron, or Dan Herron, pardon me, back to work. Dan Herron, Bo Hart. Cardinal lineup sprinkled with some rookies making contributions right now.
When you have
and we go bottom 2.
When you have injuries, you got to fill them with somebody, and the Cardinals seem to have a lot of those spots to fill.
The batter is the pitcher, Jim Brower. And he's had a couple of hits this year, 2 out of 7. Now, Jeff Brantley, if you're the young pitcher Dan Herron, you just had a very rough and long first inning. What's the most important thing for him to come out and establish now in his second inning of work?
I think the biggest thing for him is just to throw strikes and keep the ball down. You've got to believe in your mind from a pitcher standpoint is that you did what you needed to do. You just had an unfortunate circumstance with the bat going right in front of Scott Rowland. Use that as fuel to go out and throw strikes, and it's not a good way to start it, especially after that first inning.
Pretty good approach by Jim Brower, who finds himself at first base for the third time this year. Nice little stroke going the other way.
The thing about it is when you've got a pitcher up there, it's not just about throwing the ball belt high and right down the middle. I mean, you take enough batting practice, you'll be able to put the bat on the ball. You've just got to be able to hit your spots and keep the ball down.
And when you're a relief pitcher, you just kind of gingerly go into the bag. You're not really interested in making the big turn and stretching the thing.
No. You're happy you got a hit.
He kind of looked to me like Brantley a couple of years ago arriving at first base. Top of the order now, it's Ray Durham for the Giants.
There weren't too many times I arrived at first base unless I was covering on a double play.
This ball is well hit into the corner. It's a fair ball. Over to third goes Brower. Into second base Durham. And the Giants have a chance for a big inning again. This time with nobody out.
Danny Herron is getting the ball up, not only to Jim Brower, but you start getting it up to these regular hitters in this Giants lineup. They're going to put a hurting on you really quick.
Cardinal lineup card down in Tony La Russa's office today listed Jason Simontachi as a reliever. And the bullpen is busy with that right-hander who has made 15 starts, 1 relief appearance this year.
Well, there was a question mark as to whether Simontachi would start this game or whether it would be Danny Herron. Simontachi actually beat the Giants in the last time he was out there, even though he didn't pitch that great. They won the ball game. But if you've got a guy of Danny Herron's upside, you'd like to be able to get him out there and see what he can do. You know what Simontachi can do, but you don't know what Herron can do at the big league level. Now is the time, especially while the season is in the middle part, to run this kid out there and see what he can do. If he can go out there and pitch like Jerome Williams did last night for the San Francisco Giants, can't beat that with a stick.
Ball bouncing way out in front on the first pitch to J.T. Snow. J.T. walked with 1 out. Back in the first. Advanced on the ground ball by Grissom when Scott Rowland threw the ball away. They all scored on the Jose Cruz Jr. home run, and he might bat again in this inning. And an off-speed pitch foul. J.T. Snow is the 11th Giant to bat in this game. Of the previous 10, 7 of them have reached base.
Danny Herron's just got to mix it up a little bit more than what he has been. If you're throwing first pitch fastballs to every hitter that walks up, well, when they come back to the dugout, what'd you see on the first pitch? Fastball. What'd you see on the first pitch? Fastball. Well, after a while, they're going to pick that up. This is the big leagues. They'll pick that up in a hurry. This is the toughest part about pitching up here. When you've got runners in scoring position as a pitcher, you've still got to be able to throw your breaking ball and off-speed stuff for a strike. Every hitter that walks to the plate with runners in scoring position, when it's RBI time, they're looking for a fastball middle away that they can drive. If you can throw a breaking ball for a strike or a changeup for a strike, this is when you can make hay.
Dropping a 2-2 pitch right in there, and J.T. Snow frozen at the plate.
Well, that was a backdoor breaking ball from Danny Herron. It just goes back to what I was talking about. When you can start a ball the other way, you drop it right on that outside corner. From J.T. Snow's standpoint, he's thinking fastball. He sees a ball up in the zone. His mind says, well, that's a ball, so he gives up on it, and that ball just breaks down into the strike zone middle away. Very difficult to pull the trigger.
Runners at second and third still, one out. Right-hander Marquise Grissom in there, who hit that bouncing ball to Rolen, on which his bat broke. We think the barrel flying by distracted Scott Rolen. And if Danny Herron can get this batter, he's got first base open and Cruz next. You could walk Cruz and take your chances with Edgardo Alfonso. We'll see how it plays out. And the Giants, and if you're San Francisco and you've already won the first game of the series, you would like to apply the knockout punch right here.
Oh, yeah. And I think from Matheny's standpoint and Herron's standpoint, they want to see Marquise Grissom hit a breaking ball.
That is a foul ball outside third.
You've got a base open. You know that Marquise Grissom will chase the ball out of the strike zone. Feed him as many breaking balls as possible. If you do have to throw a fastball, get it up and in somewhere where he can't get the bat on the baseball. And so far, out of the 3 pitches that we've seen, all 3 of them have been breaking balls.
Grissom had a big night last night, 2 for 4 with 3 runs batted in. Second to Bonds on the Giants in RBIs. He goes reaching again and manages to reach that pitch.
That's another breaking ball. That's 4 in a row now, and that pitch was almost a foot outside, but Grissom sees RBIs. You see this pitch, that's not even close. That ball never even starts on the plate, but that just shows you the aggressiveness of Marquise Grissom.
Boy, there's some NHL players who'd be happy to have that knob at the end of their stick. He's really got a big handle on that thing.
And that's 5 breaking balls in a row. That's what I was talking about earlier, Bob. When you've got Barry Bonds hitting behind you in the lineup, you can't throw those pitches, because if he takes them, in your mind, if he takes them, then I've got to face Bonds with the bases loaded. Well, now when you've got Cruz Jr. hitting behind him, whether he hit the home run off of you or not, he ain't no Barry Bonds.
Well, Grissom, 14 walks in 351 plate appearances this year. So he's up there to hack and drive in runs. Way outside, Matheny, one of the best in the business at blocking balls. Sliding over for that one, it's ball 2.
The one thing about having to throw so many breaking balls in a row, all of a sudden you lose a little bit of perception from the pitcher's standpoint. You think, well, he's fouling these off, maybe I'll try to make a little better one, and then all of a sudden you hang one in the strike zone.
Unbelievable. Over 60 pitches and 4 batters retired. Danny Herron's only 22 years of age. He won't be 23 until September 17th. Cardinals second-round draft choice just 2 years ago. He's been on the fast track to the big leagues. Grissom a bouncer to short. Renteria coming home. Runner safe. That's the pitcher, Brower, sliding around Mike Matheny. And the Giants lead 4-1.
Brower got a good jump from third base, but Renteria did everything that he needed to do. He actually got his body turned ahead of time before he caught the baseball. And we can see the ball right here. The ball takes a big hop. Watch Renteria turn his body right there and make the throw. What a great slide right there from Jim Brower. And this is a pitcher, ladies and gentlemen, sliding all the way on the third base side and getting that foot in there just ahead of the tag.
That throw just enough to the first base side to cause Matheny late to turn into the runner.
You can watch him come in, and he sticks that left foot in there. He's all the way deep in the batter's box from the right-hander standpoint and just sticks that leg in there just ahead of the tag.
Now Durham had to stay at second on that play, so it's first and second, 2 outs. And the Giants pick up a big run there. Well, the scoreboard says 2 outs. There's only 1 out. It's a fielder's choice, but it wasn't an out. And Cruz could do some more damage. That ball gets away from Matheny, and both runners will move up.
But it looked like Matheny got crossed up right there from Danny Herron.
They're going to call it a wild pitch.
Well, actually, he didn't get crossed up. That's a split finger that really dropped straight down. A very difficult pitch to block for a catcher because you don't know which way the ball's going.
First base is open, and a 2-1 pitch here.
Matheny got over the top of that baseball, but anytime you throw a split finger, when the ball hits the dirt, it's as your guess as good as anybody's as to which way the ball is going to bounce when it hits the dirt. It bounced the wrong way that time for the Cardinals.
Another full count.
Simon Tachi's ready in the bullpen. I would imagine that if we see another walk right here, it might be the end of the day for Danny Herron.
This ball lifted to left, deep enough to score a run. Eddie Perez the catch. He'll throw into third, and the Giants lead 5-1. For Cruz, 4 RBIs on the day and 42 on the year.
That's a good job of hitting by Cruz Jr. right there. Looking for a ball away. He just hit a ball out of the ballpark in right field in his first AB, so you know that the pitcher is going to try to keep the ball away from you, which he does. Sinker middle away, just stays right on it and drives the ball the other way and gets the RBI.
Runner at second, 2 outs now. Edgardo Alfonso, as the Giants have put crooked numbers up each of the first 2 innings. Alfonso with a base hit up the middle, first time up. This guy has had 300 seasons in his career. That one off the glove of Roland. It'll score another run as Marquise Grissom is in, and it's 2 consecutive 3-run innings for San Francisco.
Well, those first 2 ABs by Edgardo Alfonso reminds me of how he used to swing the bat, keeping his weight back, looking to drive the ball the other way, and when he does get a breaking ball in the zone, he can spin on it, and that's what he does on that ball right there. Very important for Edgardo Alfonso to get it going, hitting the ball the other way, because he's got to get it going to keep teams from pitching around Barry Bonds.
Danny Herron, tough luck in the first inning. He's done in the second. Giants by 5.
With Club Ramada's twice as nice promotion, you earn free nights and more.
Second inning not quite over. Cardinals have gone to their bullpen. Tonight, ESPN's hit reality series, Beg, Borrow, and Deal, returns for season 2. 8 of them split into 2 teams. They race from Miami Beach to Mount Rushmore, needing to complete 10 tasks along the way. How about this for some challenges? You can play a set against either Williams sister, making an NBA three-pointer inside the NBA arena, or turning a double play with David Eckstein, Nomar Garcia-Parra, or Alex Rodriguez. Summer Sanders hosting Beg, Borrow, and Deal 2, presented by Miller Lite, tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. I would have to go for that double play.
Well, I'm saying.
Here's Jason Simon-Tachi, had a wonderful rookie year for the Cardinals last year. 11-5 in 24 starts.
Simon Tachi may have been the guy that was supposed to start today's game, but this 2003 season has been a little off again, on again for Simon Tachi, and they, from the Cardinals standpoint, need him to be on right now and cut down on the bleed.
AP Perez fouls one away. Walking his first time up, riding a 7-game hitting streak. And most people will tell you that Napi Perez looks a whole lot more motivated than he did the last 2 years in Kansas City. He got kind of a rap there for being the first guy out of the clubhouse after a ball game with a team that was not contending, was in a total rebuilding mode. Now he's with the Giants, who are in the thick of the race, have the second best record in the league, and he's playing much better.
To be honest with you, Bob, I think that has a lot to do with Philippe Alou. I don't think Philippe's going to put up with any crap from anybody. I don't care if it's Barry Bonds or if it's a rookie that just comes to the big leagues. I think he expects you to come and play play well, or you're going to hear about it.
And the reason people in Kansas City were not happy about that was a team that needed some veteran leadership. A little pop fly to center, going out full heart. Can't get there. Neither can Edmonds. Over to third, and out. What a play is Alfonso.
That's a Gold Glover, baby.
Jim Edmonds on the run and seemingly throwing the ball from off of his feet.
Look at that.
And that's how the second inning comes to a close.
I've made a lot of money to his tight end, Scott Rowland. That's outstanding.
And a breaking ball for a strike to Edmonds, who collected RBI number 66. His first time up with a sac fly to left.
Great play, lead off the inning. How many times do we say that?
A lot. Actually leads the league in home runs with 27. Carlos Delgado with the Blue Jays with 28 leads baseball. Edmonds in the thick of the RBI race as well, number 7. And a deal that Walt Jocketty pulled off a couple of years ago that's worked out beautifully for St. Louis. Ken Bottenfield was coming off a career year. Walt Jocketty shipped Bottenfield and a young Adam Kennedy to the Angels for Jim Edmonds. Kennedy helped the Angels win a World Series, and the Cardinals hope that Edmonds will do the same in St. Louis. Inside, ball 2.
You can see Jim Brower trying to pitch inside to Edmonds, which is really what a lot of teams try to do. But if you're trying to pitch Jim Edmonds inside and you leave the ball middle in, he's going to crush it.
One of those 5 Cardinal All-Stars heading for U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago next week.
The more I see this guy play, the more I'm impressed with him. Not only for his outfield play, I mean, we just saw evidence of that, but the fact that he can swing the bat, even though he strikes out on that changeup from Jim Brown.
First strikeout by Giants pitching today.
Pulls the string, and this is the effect of pitching inside. Even though a lot of those pitches that he threw inside to Edmonds were balls, he starts this pitch middle away and it runs away from him. It's off speed, and because of the inside pitches, it gets Edmonds to get out in front of it just a little bit.
Albert Pujols 0 for his last 11. Bounced out to short. High chopper to third. Short hop, Alfonso charging well. 2 down. The one thing the Giants don't do is beat themselves defensively. They have a shortstop with 3 errors. They have an outfielder, 2 of them combined for 1 error this year in the lineup today. And Alfonso's been a good glove man for a long time.
Yes, he has, and that's not an easy play. Anytime you have to range to your left and you get a short hop like that one was, it's not the easiest of plays to make. You expect it in the big leagues, but these guys make it look easy, but it's definitely not easy.
Scott Rowland robbed of an extra base hit by Jose Cruz Jr. ending the top of the first inning. Cardinals actually led at that point 1-0 on a Bo Hart triple, to Jim Edmonds sac fly.
One thing I always hated, Bob, is when I'm standing on the mound and I see a on-deck hitter. You can see Eduardo Perez right here in the bottom part of your screen. What he's trying to do is get part of this, just a little extra look from the pitcher to see what he's actually got, what he's throwing. It's probably the first time that Perez has faced Brower, so he's trying to cheat in a little bit behind home plate, kind of get an idea. And that's really what I mean, if the umpire is going to let you slide in there, and if the pitcher standing on the mound is going to let you slide in there, that's what you do. But if I'm pitching right now, I'm telling Eduardo Perez, get back over there in that on-deck circle.
He's not more than 30 feet from home plate right now. Rowland pulls one to deep short. Alfonso on his knees. At first on a close play. Edgardo Alfonso, and the brilliance of the Giants defense continues. A 1-2-3 top of the third. Alfonso makes 2 good plays. That one great. Has been ejected from this game after arguing that call at first base. I think the replays may show that Jim Reynolds' call was not the correct one. La Russa got tossed. Some other Cardinal infielders have gotten into it with other umpires on this crew.
Watch the ball as it comes across the bag. It looks like Scott Rowland makes contact before the ball actually gets in the glove, or at least at the same time, which in my mind, he's safe. But he rings him up. Here's a little bit better look.
Very, very close.
It was close.
So La Russa ejected. Scott Rowland. And right over there, that was Dave McKay who came in to protect Rowland. And that was actually the home plate umpire, Jim Joyce, who Tony knows well from their days in the American League, the crew chief who tossed him out.
Well, Tony didn't even get a chance to get to Jim Reynolds at first base before Joyce threw him out of the ballgame.
I'm wondering what the home plate umpire is doing at first base.
You know, there's no reason for him to be down there unless he's trying to protect Jim Reynolds at first base. But if you're Tony La Russa, all you're coming out to do is ask Jim Reynolds, what did you see on the call? And Joyce beats him out there. The one thing that I wonder about that, Bob, is did Jim Reynolds get caught up in the excitement of the play that Edgardo Alfonso made? It doesn't matter how much you dive or how far you range or how good of a throw you make. It's still whether you're out or safe. Doesn't matter. You should be watching the last foot of the play, not what Alfonso's doing.
Bottom of the third underway. Strike one to Pedro Feliz.
I think his left foot's on the bag when he catches the baseball.
Rowland's left foot, you're talking.
Rowland's left foot on the first base bag when J.T. Snow catches the baseball. Great stretch, great play, but that shouldn't determine whether you're out or safe.
Jason Simon-Tachi working to Pedro Feliz. Slide to center first time up. Feliz 0 for his last 10. He's the number 7 San Francisco batter. Torey Alba next. And then Jim Brower, who's having himself quite a day so far.
Bob, you've got to believe from the Cardinals standpoint, there's got to be at least some frustration in how things have gone against the San Francisco Giants. Nobody wants to get beaten like they've gotten beaten. And when you have a close play like that, I think there were a lot of guys talking when that play was made.
Little tapper, Simon-Tachi charging. That's how the bottom of the third gets underway. Well, you've got two division heavyweights getting together here. If the Cardinals were in the West, they'd be 8 games behind the Giants. That's how much better San Francisco's record is. They're 20 games over the 500 mark. Felipe's club 5 up on Arizona, 7.5 on the Dodgers, 9.5 on the Rockies. And the Padres, who played the the Giants tough recently, out of sight, 22 back. St. Louis embroiled in a 1-game race with the Cubs and the Astros right now.
Bob, if at the beginning of the season they told you that the San Francisco Giants were going to lose their closer and they were only going to have 2 of their starting pitchers from last year, one of which was going to Atlanta, and they were going to try to start the season out with 3 rookies, would you have ever thought that they would have done as well as they've done? Pretty amazing.
And a ball just off the plate, 2-1 to Yorvin Torrealba. Now the Dodgers were hot up until about a week ago. They've really fallen back. The D-backs have had a great month or so. They're actually 10 games over the 500 mark. But the Giants, they just never do a whole lot to hurt themselves. Their longest losing streak this year is 5. Their longest winning streak is 7. You know, but usually they'll win 3, lose 1, win 5, lose 2. They're not a roller coaster up and down team. Now, the Cardinals have had some wild swings this year. And you've got to score 8 runs every night sometimes to win. You're going to have those kind of roller coaster rides. Now Torrealba caught looking, and Simon-Tachi has a chance for a 1-2-3 third inning.
And I don't know that the roller coaster will ever end for the Cardinals, because they've had some bullpen woes. They're trying to get Isringhausen pitching back the way he was last year. But the biggest key for me for this ball club is going to be Matt Morris. If Matt Morris can't return to form, it's going to be a tough go when we get into the second half of the season for the St. Louis Cardinals.
They just passed along the news about Kirk Reeder to us. As Brower, his replacement, bats. Kirk Reeder had a strained left shoulder. He's going to go for an MRI, and they'll announce those results later today.
That's the one thing about the shoulder. You can MRI it to death, and not always is any injury going to show up. But you as a pitcher, you know whether you feel pain or you don't feel pain. And you can be the toughest guy in the world, and you can get past the pain, but your shoulder will not allow you to continue to throw. The ball will decelerate, and you see a drop in velocity.
Brower goes the other way again. Paul Hart throws him out. And a 1-2-3 third. Coming up a little later today, we're going to talk to the Gold Glover, the slugger, Jim Edmonds. He's going to talk about hitting some high heat with our fireballer, Jeff Brantley. Park, Cooperstown, 2,800 plus for Barry Bonds. He needs to know that. And of course, McCovey Cove is only 100 feet away. I like that. We've gone from thousands of miles to 100 feet. Just one of the many charming aspects of this wonderful baseball park they call Pacific Bell Park in San Francisco.
There's a lot of us that sitting in this ballpark, we'd love to forget about Candlestick. I don't think there's any comparison other than the fact that the game's played the same.
Well, you know what's funny about Candlestick, Jeff? On the day in the late 50s, when the city fathers of San Francisco entertained Horace Stoneham and the brass from the New York Giants, it was on an afternoon just like this.
Exactly.
Eddie Perez bounces out. That starts off the top of the fourth, and they said, what an unbelievable place for a ballpark. How beautiful, how calm, how warm. A couple of hours later, after they were gone, that wind started blowing. The waves started kicking. There's Willie McCovey. 22 years, a Hall of Famer, now a senior advisor to the president, managing general partner of the Giants, Peter McGowan. They've done a great job here of involving former Giants, not only just having them show up at the ballpark and signing autographs and shaking hands, but I mean guys that are involved in the running of the ball club. Willie Mays is a special assistant. Orlando Cepeda is the community representative. Vida Blue is in the organization, helping out.
And Cepeda was out yesterday while the Giants were taking batting practice, because I saw him talking. There's Orlando there. He was out talking to some of the guys, and I can remember it's probably been, I guess, in the late 80s, early 90s at Candlestick, Orlando and Willie Mays came out and took a little batting practice with us, and Willie could still hit the ball over the fence.
And I bet Orlando Cepeda was driving the ball to right center. He was one of the primary reasons the Cardinals dominated the National League and went to the World Series in '67 and '68.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Bob. When they both put bats in their hands, I know they were great players when they played, but I never expected them to hit like they hit. And I know it was just batting practice, but when Willie went deep, I was like, no way. This guy was unbelievable. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's like the old Ted Williams line several years ago when somebody asked him with the lively ball in the small ballparks what he would be hitting these days. And he said, 250 or so. They said, is that all? He said, hey, I'm 75 years old.
Exactly.
Ray Durham retires Edgar Renteria. St. Louis fans remember a lot about Orlando Cepeda, the man they called Cha-Cha, because of his dancing around the diamond after Cardinal wins. You would be in the front office after a ball game during those 2 years, and coming through the pipes and the vents, you could hear Cepeda downstairs leading the cheers in the clubhouse. It was almost like a college locker room back then. Those were great teams that Red Schoendienst managed. And then the Cardinals traded Orlando Cepeda to get a young guy by the name of Joe Torre. A wildly unpopular trade at the time, but one that did work out over time. A ball and a strike to J.D. Drew with 2 outs here in the top of the fourth.
Many stories I hear from that old Candlestick ballpark.
Any of them good?
Oh, yeah.
Pitchers blown off the mound. Center fielder Marquise Grissom puts it away. Cardinals gone in the top of the fourth. There's another good center fielder in the ballpark today, Jim Edmonds, a Gold Glover, a guy who can hit, and he loves going after the high cheese.
What I have to do is really pull through with my bottom hand and get the bat out in front of me. My top hand's probably the weakest part of my swing, so you know, I try to stay inside the ball more than anything. The best thing for me is I have an inside-out swing, so I can stay on a ball that's anywhere but the inside corner, and that's the ball that I really have to work to get to. Some days it's simple, some days it's super easy, and other days, you know, I'm really trying to stay inside the ball. The thing I try to do or keep from doing is cheating, and cheating is swinging as soon as the ball comes out of the hand without recognizing. I try not to overswing, and I try not to cheat. Whenever you're watching a big league baseball game, you see a guy swinging at a slider in the dirt. He's probably, you know, 75% of those guys are cheating. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get out in front of the fastball, and it causes you to lose sight of the spin and causes you just to swing at anything that's coming up there. So I'm trying not to cheat. I'm trying to see the ball first, and sometimes you catch up, sometimes you don't.
This is not your prototypical left-handed batter. Most of them, Jeff, like to drop that bat head down, but not Jim Edmonds.
Well, a lot of left-handed batters really like to use their top hand as their aggressive hand. But as we saw in some of the tape, when Edmonds comes through, his hand is square, his wrist is straight. He really drives with the bottom hand, but this is the hand that carries the bat. And when he hits the baseball, instead of the bat going backwards and giving, he's strong with that top hand, and it allows him to drive the ball the other way. Any hitter that can stand at the plate and wait, which is what Jim Edmonds does so well, and drive the ball the other way, that's deadly from a pitcher standpoint, because then you got to go in, and when you make a mistake in, that's deadly too.
And the nature of his home runs, a lot of them are just absolute towering drives from left center to right center. It's not that often that he just turns on a ball and jerks it down the right field line.
And he'll tell you, and he told us in that interview that his toughest pitch is on the inside part of the plate. Well, guess what? Very few pitchers in today's game pitch inside anyway, and if they do, it's usually for a ball. You don't have to swing at that anyway. A lot of hitters now in the game today, especially the power hitters, they'll tell you straight up, I don't even look in because nobody throws in there anyway. I'm looking middle away because I know I can get extended and hit the ball a long way.
That's Jeff Brantley. I'm Bob Carpenter. Home of the Giants, Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. It's ESPN's day game. Bottom of the fourth, top of the order for the Giants, Ray Durham. Jason Simontachi misses with a breaking ball to start him off. Don't tell the Yankees guys don't pitch inside anymore after what Pedro Martinez did yesterday.
Well, if you saw the two pitches that hit Soriano and Jeter, neither one of them were four-seamers right at the batter. That's how you get away from it from a pitcher standpoint. You start the ball over the middle of the plate, you let your hand get flat a little bit, and run that ball in there. That way nobody can grind. Well, I tried to throw it over the plate and just ran in on it. Same thing with right-handers throwing in the lefties. They'll throw that cutter in there, start it over the plate, and let that thing just ride straight in. That gives you an excuse from the mound standpoint. Well, I started it over the plate. It just happened to hit you. You dove in on the pit.
And a bouncer to the left side for Scott Rowland. Durham on a broken bat retired. George Steinbrenner upset about that yesterday. But his Yankees are 4 up on the Red Sox, 7 on the Blue Jays. And Toronto will get together with Boston. That'll be one of our games tomorrow night. While the Yankees will open a series tonight in Cleveland against the Indians. So there are some good races around baseball right now. The National League Central is the wild one right now with the Cardinals, Cubs, and Astros involved.
And I've got to believe before it's all said and done, this National League West is going to be just as exciting as the National League Central, because the Dodgers are going to continue to pitch well. Somewhere along the line, you've got to believe from Dan Evans' standpoint, he's going to get them somebody that can swing the bat in that lineup. And then you're going to have Schilling and Johnson back for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the way they've been swinging the bat lately, I can't imagine them not being in the hunt.
And with two small market teams getting it done in the AL Central, a great race there with the Royals 8 over 500. Twins
that?
only 3.5 back, and the White Sox a game behind them. What a job by Tony Pena, huh?
He is the ultimate motivator. And not in a detrimental standpoint. I don't think anybody will ever get him confused with Lou Piniella. Lou Piniella is a motivator too, and a lot of times it's just like the show Fear Factor. But I think there's different ways to motivate players in the big leagues. And from a fan's perspective, you would think, well, if you're getting paid millions of dollars, shouldn't you be self-motivated? Well, yeah, you probably should, but they're not always that way. And if you don't get guys to go out and play, guess what? You get fired.
Oh, Rowland, great play to his left. Well off the line. So not exactly at the hot corner, but he makes a hot corner type play on a wonderful reaction.
And that is, Bob, that is nothing but reaction. You've got to get yourself in fielding position quickly, because this is a one-hop bullet. You can't do anything but just throw your glove at the baseball. What a great play. That's how you win Gold Gloves right there.
And Albert Pujols picking that ball out of the dirt at first. Scott Rowland, of course, a Gold Glove caliber infielder who has won Gold Gloves 4 of the last 5 years. Marquise Grissom has bounced into fielder's choices twice today. And then he has scored a couple of runs, has an RBI. And a guy with some postseason experience. How about his World Series batting average of .390 in 3 different World Series? He's number 6 in baseball history, behind Yankee Bobby Brown, Cardinal Pepper Martin, Paul Molitor, Hal McRae, and Cardinal Lou Brock.
Well, in order to get that type of batting average, you got to be there a few times. It's amazing watching the Cardinal pitchers today pitch against Marquise Grissom. I don't know that he's seen but one fastball all day long. Everything else has either been a changeup or a breaking ball. Another changeup. But very few times when Marquise Grissom is at the plate, I don't think it really matters, Bob, whether the fastball's in, fastball's away, up or down. He seems to be on it, and it doesn't matter what the count is. He seems to be right on the fastball regardless of where you throw it. And if that's the case, you've got to be able to throw a breaking ball or a changeup for a strike to get this guy out.
Fastball, showed it to him on the outside part, and he just missed with it. Count goes full 3-2 with dangerous Jose Cruz Jr. on deck. Tried to run that thing back to the corner, didn't he?
He pulled it just a little bit. You could see his hips open just a little bit too soon.
Up the middle. And with 2 outs, Grissom is aboard, and that will get Cruz back to the plate. How about the first inning Jose Cruz Jr. had, starting with the glove?
The only way that you can make this play on the wall is knowing where the wall is. If you run into the wall as you jump, you can't get your glove up. And we see him hit this changeup into the water for what was it, the 28th splashdown?
Yeah, his first. Now, what would Mike Matheny be telling Simon Tachi right here? They just had a little visit.
I think what he's trying to tell him is, let's continue to change speed, stay with your stuff. He's going to look for the ball middle in. If we're going in, let's make sure we get it in. A lot of times when the catcher comes out, Bob, all he's trying to do is reassure you that your stuff is fine.
Bouncing ball. Bohart to his left. And after that little 2-out reminder by Matheny, Simon Tachi gets the out. Giants 6-1 after 4.
Hundreds of the world's best outdoor athletes. Oh, what a great run! 23 outdoor events. Watch the 2003 Great Outdoor Games, presented by Dodge. Brought to you by Steel, July 19th through the 22nd.
A game, Giants 6, Cardinals 1. How about Jim Brower so far? He's retired all 7 batters he's faced. After completing a walk to Dan Herron back in the second, he came in with a count of 2-0. After Kirk Reeder left with a strained left shoulder. Cardinals will lead off with their number 8 man, the catcher Mike Matheny.
I think the biggest key for Brower is he knows he's got a 5-run lead. The biggest thing that he has in front of him is throwing strikes. Make the Cardinals catch up by swinging the bat.
Well, not even a base runner, much less a walk. Since that top of the second, when St. Louis left 3 men on, they had a bunt hit and 3 walks in the inning, and the double play kept them from scoring.
That's a big key against a Cardinal lineup that has so many hitters that can leave the yard in a hurry. The last thing that you want to do from the opposition is give this Cardinals lineup some free passes and give a guy like Rowland or Pujols and Edmonds a chance to tie it up or put them ahead.
Well hit to center. Grissom cruising for it. And about 380 feet away, he's there. A full menu of Major League Baseball for you tomorrow on ESPN and the Deuce. We're going to start you with some high-def day game action. The Braves continue their series at the Mets, and Atlanta's playing great again. They've won 4 in a row. They're 15 over 500. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, Dodgers-Cardinals, as the Redbirds get back to St. Louis. At the same time, Red Sox and Blue Jays both chasing the Yankees in the American League East. Regional coverage will have the Yankees at Cleveland. That'll be David Wells and CC Sabathia tomorrow night. I was looking over some stats for that game. I'll be there with Tom Candiotti. David Wells this year has walked 6 batters while striking out 66. That's a little better than your coveted 2-to-1 ratio.
And Wells, he's just got a great idea about what he wants to do with his fastball, and he has great command of it. And I think he's got a real good idea about the batters that he faces. That big over-the-top breaking ball that he throws, he can throw it not only in the dirt, but he can throw it on the outside corner to those right-handers. And after seeing that four-seamer, seems like every pitch, that curveball looks like it's coming out of the sky.
Braves have the best record in baseball again, 25 over the 500 mark. And a week ago at this time, the Phillies were 4.5 games out. Now they're 8.5 out. We thought the Phils were poised for a big-time run in the East with Tomey and company starting to hit the ball a little better. And all of a sudden you look up a week later and the Braves have another huge lead.
Bob, I'm surprised at how difficult a time that the Phillies have had hitting the baseball. I really thought with the acquisition of Tomey and Bell that they would put it all together, but it's been tough.
Simon Tachi caught looking. Next up is Bo Hart. What a great experience his first year has been in the big leagues.
I learned by watching a lot, and I think I've done that my whole life. And here it's like, you know, watching batting practice, watching them take ground balls, watching their approach at the plate and everything. You know, I'm trying to soak it all in. I'm trying to be a sponge right now and just kind of, you know, and kind of tippy-toe around, not say much, and just kind of keep my mouth shut and get the job done. That's hopefully I can keep that up.
Now that's a rookie who knows what he's doing.
Well, that's a rookie that's being led in the proper way. When you have guys like Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds and Albert Pujols, the way that they go about their business is not necessarily a lot of talk. They're showing him by their actions, and I think that is the greatest leadership ability that you can show, is to get out and play the game on the field and prepare off the field the way that you're supposed to do it day in and day out, and the rookies will follow and give you that energy.
Hanging breaking ball. Hart hits it to the left side. Alfonso guns him out. And the Cardinals go in order for the 3rd straight time. 10 straight for Jim Brower.
The mortgage application with
ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by Bank of America. Higher standards.
There's no more beautiful city in the entire world than San Francisco. Now they've got a ballpark to match the beauty of the downtown area. Over here along McCovey's Cove in China Basin, Pacific Bell Park. Bottom of the 5th inning, Giants on top of the Cardinals 6-1 on our ESPN Day Game. Edgardo Alfonso 2 for 2 today. The mere sight of Jeff Brantley in the ballpark has brought his bat alive.
No kidding.
Started today batting .228. He's on his way.
Remember when he was a rookie, I couldn't get him out on either side of the plate.
And a fastball on the corner. Simon Tachi places that one well. Alfonso, Perez, and Feliz for the Giants here in the bottom of the 5th inning. They about hit the Cardinals 7-2. And this is the 5th game this year in 6 meetings between the two clubs, where St. Louis has only scored 1 run. And Edgardo is now 3 for 3. Well, there's a lot of talk about the all-star team, who made it, who didn't. As far as the position guys go, there are some Cardinals out there with Scott Rowland at 3rd, Edgar Renteria at short. Albert Pujols will be playing an interesting position in center field, deferring to Mr. Bonds in left.
Well, that is the fan voting, but I'll be honest with you. I think that the All-Star game, and I may have a differing opinion, but I think the All-Star game should be the guys that have had the best first half. I'm not about a popularity contest. How do you say that?
You know what you're trying to say.
You know what I'm saying.
The guys that people like.
Yeah, popularity contest. I think the All-Star game is more of a recognition of the guys that have had a great first half in that particular season. This is not about who's in the Hall of Fame or wanting to see a guy for their last time or any of those things. I think it's a reward for the guys that have had the best first half in the league.
Napi Perez, the batter, and a slow bouncer to second. Bo Hart never got the ball. It's into right field. Everybody's safe. Second and third Giants, as Bo Hart literally tried to make the tag before the ball was in his glove.
I think if you ask Bo Hart, he would tell you right now, I wish I had caught the ball and just thrown it to first base. When you have a 6-1 lead, the last thing that you want to do is give outs away. He tries to tag and catch at the same time, and in effect, he misses the baseball. And now you've got runners at second and third. Makes it a difficult situation for the Cardinals.
Infield not all the way in by Tony La Russa. Even with the bag at the corners are Roland and Pujols. And then, of course, out at short, Renteria deep. Bo Hart halfway. Tony La Russa, of course, has been ejected from this game, but the way he plays remains.
Well, I would bet that every manager, regardless of whether they're ejected in the first inning or the last, they're still somewhere in contact with the coaches in the dugout to make the call.
There's Joe Pettini, a longtime St. Louis organization minor league manager. He's Tony La Russa's bench coach and running the ball club now with Tony ejected. Dave Duncan right next to him. And it was nice to see the Cardinals recently get Joe to the major league level. He had brought so many of the minor leaguers along through the years, and now he's with the major league staff. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Pedro Feliz, who's in a bit of a slump. 0 for his last 11, including a fly ball and a comebacker today. Giants on top by 5 and looking to make this one a laugher. Barry Bonds in the ballpark today, not in the lineup, and evidently for this day game after a night game, they don't need him to this point. We could see Barry homers, 54 RBIs, and a .308 batting average. A high hanging breaking ball hit into left. Eduardo Perez, medium depth, tagging and scoring easily is Edgardo Alfonzo, and the Giants lead 7-1. They are a ball club, Jeff Brantley, that does not waste its men on base opportunities.
No, they don't. And that's the toughest part about this kind of a ball game. When it's 6-1 and it's only the 5th inning, you know from a Cardinals perspective that you've got a chance to catch up. You've got the offensive firepower to do it. You're already small mistakes. Bo Hart made a mistake on that ground ball, and it could possibly lead to 2 runs. It's already led to 1, and that's the last thing that you want to do is give away runs when you're down by 5.
Little chopper left side. That is trouble. Simon Tachi fields it and safe at first on a close play as the catcher Torrealba beat it out. The other runner stayed at second base, Napi Perez.
That was a great play by Simon Tachi just to get this throw off. He's falling towards the third baseline. A lot of times when you see a throw like that, that ball heads all the way down the first baseline. And this shows you the difference in a guy from J.T. Snow's perspective that can stretch towards the baseball and cut off the distance that the throw's coming, maybe get that last foot and maybe get it out there. And a guy like Albert Pujols that's usually playing in left field, but he's at first base today for Tino Martinez. He stretches towards second base instead of towards the baseball. I don't think that play, I think that probably could have been an out had he stretched towards the baseball, but stretching towards second base, not going to get it.
Cardinals expecting Jim Brower to bunt. Pujols on the grass, so's Roland. Jim Brower trying to push 2 runners into scoring position here. Showed no signs of it as he took a breaking ball.
Hey, he got a hit in his first swing.
Well, then he hit the ball okay to the right side his second time up. Maybe Felipe Alou switching off to get the Cardinals a little uncertain on the infield. Now he's hacking. Might have been better off bunting. That was not a very good swing on a big breaking ball.
Scouting report on Jim Brower does not like breaking ball.
What hitting pitchers do. They're saying, give me the cheese, man.
Well, I know when I played for the Giants and Don Robinson was on our team, the pitch that he could hit was the breaking ball in a long way, and he could hit it a long way.
I mean, this guy looks like he's hitting against Bert Blyleven. He's almost chopping straight down with the bat.
When you're in batting practice and you're taking BP, you never see breaking balls like that. You see straight ones and you see how far you can hit it.
Brower 7 for 36 in his career, 3 major league RBIs.
There were a lot of times in our ball game Roger Craig would pinch hit Don Robinson. That's how good a hitter he was.
Well, Woody Williams is that kind of guy for the Cardinals. Woody Williams is batting .256 this year with 5 runs batted in. He's going to the All-Star game next week. And, of course, Mike Hampton, a great hitting pitcher. By the way, Woody Williams wanted me to tell his daughter Hannah, watching at home back in St. Louis, he knows that she's happy about Dad going to the All-Star game. In an interview yesterday, he said how happy his son Caden was about Dad going to the All-Star game. And you know what happens to dads when they leave out one of the kids?
He's telling you to help him.
So, Woody, you owe us one, big guy. But those are All-Star numbers. Hannah, your dad's doing great. He's thinking about you. And he'll be home late tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little chopper out to short. Renteria charging. No play at second. He'll take the sure one. That's as good as a sacrifice bunt. Interesting at bat there for Jim Brower. Third base Perez, second base Torrealba now with 2 outs for Ray Durham. And of course the Giants went out and got Ray Durham. Kenny Lofton didn't come back.
And I think there was a difference in this ball club when he was hurt earlier. When Ray Durham got hurt and he had to spend some time out, I really think there was a difference in the energy in this ball club. When you've got a guy like Durham at the top of the order that can switch hit, provide some speed at the top of the order, anytime you can take a pitcher's concentration away from the guy standing at the plate, especially if it's Barry Bonds, you've done your job.
Not scoring as many runs this year as he has in the past. Ray Durham scored 100 runs or more 5 straight years with the White Sox from '97 to '01. Then last year, with the White Sox and then Oakland for the last 54 games, he scored 114. So he was a spark plug for that ball club, as he has been for the Giants. But they will settle for 1 here. Feliz the sac fly after 5. 7-1 Giants. Right now the Cardinals have no clue how to solve Jim Brower. He started against St. Louis a week ago today. 1 run on 5 hits over 6 innings. And all he's done today is come out and retire 10 in a row. Another reminder about Beg, Borrow, and Deal, presented by Bud Light, Miller Lite, pardon me. It's going at 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. 8 contestants, 2 teams from Miami Beach to Mount Rushmore. Needing to complete 10 tasks along the way, like playing tennis against pros, hitting NBA 3-pointers, or turning a double play with the likes of David Eckstein, Nomar Garcia-Parra, or Alex Rodriguez. Summer Sanders hosting Beg, Borrow, and Deal, presented by Miller Lite tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
You know, we said earlier that we would take turning the double play. They got to catch the ball first, and not everybody can do that.
Jim Edmonds out to left center. Feliz and Grissom chasing it. It'll 1-hop into the bleachers. And there's one of those patent to Jim Edmonds left center field swings you guys were talking about.
Hated it from a pitcher standpoint when a guy could drive me the other way. especially when I came in and he could fight it off, which Jim Edmonds does so well because his bottom hand is so quick and so strong. You can see that bottom hand get through the baseball, but he stays right on it. That front shoulder, watch his head when he hits the ball. His head is right on the baseball, and in order to drive the ball the other way, you've got to keep that chin down, and he does that so well.
Next up, Albert Pujols, who has hit a couple of ground balls today, 0 for 2.
Anytime that you get in a slump where you've gone 0 for 10, 0 for 11, 0 for 12, as Pujols has, a lot of times you try to accelerate your bat, try to get to the baseball a little bit quicker, and when you do that, you get out a little ahead of yourself and you get the ball on the ground rolling over the baseball.
Oh, look at that job of hitting an RBI line drive to left center. Cruising home is Edmonds, and Albert Pujols collects number 81, best in the league. It's now a 7-2 game.
A lot of hitters, especially at the major league level, whenever you have a runner in scoring position, it's money. And a lot of times you get a little bit tight. You try to do things a little bit too good or too hard. Pujols, on the other hand, I think when he gets runners in scoring position, he relaxes, not only mentally, but he relaxes his hand, he relaxes his body. That's a great job of hitting. That pitch wasn't even a strike.
Joe Nathan, part of a very good Giants bullpen, heating up in a hurry here in the 6th.
I think Nathan has been a big cog, very similar to Brad Lidge in Houston as far as what they've done for their respective ball clubs. Both of them have not got the save numbers or even the hold numbers, but they're the guys that have provided the excellent transition between a starter who's having a tough day and getting the ball to the setup man and then to the closer.
Scott Rowland has had some back and neck problems this year. I don't know if he hurt himself on that diving play he made, but Wilson Delgado will pinch hit for him here in the 6th inning.
I think because the ball game is well, up until that RBI there from Albert Pujols, this is a 6-run affair. Anytime that you can get some of your starters, especially when they've had some injury problems, out of the lineup, we know today that the Cardinals have got a long flight ahead of them after the ball game. You want to give Scott Rowland every chance that you can to stay 100%. He's a guy that's going to go out there and play even if his back is spasmed up to the max, and I think that's the reason that Tony La Russa is taking him out right now. Not because there's a specific injury in this ball game, but just a good time to give him a rest.
Right off the end of the bat to short, and that slow roller gets a first place at second. Perez to Durham for the first out. And that'll bring up Eduardo Perez. Well, there's a lot to do here along with the ball game. You know, you can walk completely around this ballpark and have a view of the field the entire way. That's one of the exciting features of Pac Bell Park.
My favorite part of this ballpark is the miniature mimic of this field in left field, where the kids can come and play. It's almost like they're at a big league park at the same time. It's basically a replica of this ballpark behind left field, but it's such a scaled down size. It's great for the kids, and they've got a lot of adults out there that are watching the children and making sure that they're safe.
Ball backhand, Durham, Perez, what a double play by the Giants. Ray Durham making it look simple. That's it for the Cards, top 6. Cozy dimensions.
Yeah. I've got to imagine if you're Barry Bonds, this is what it feels like to play in the major leagues for you. You know how when you're a dad and you take your kid out in the backyard and you hit off of your child while he's throwing you a wiffle ball and you know you can hit anything he can throw? You are Barry Bonds in the backyard. Go the other way, young man.
Oh, okay. Nice little right field stroke.
Just smoked his dad in the belly.
Kids having fun at the ballpark during an ESPN day game in San Francisco. Bottom of the 6th, J.T. Snow will lead off for the home team. J.T. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored today. Wilson Delgado remains in after hitting for Scott Rowland. Now he replaces Scott at third base.
It's funny how every kid pretends at some point in their lifetime as a youngster they're some type of big leaguer when they're out there playing in those little wiffle ball games and stuff like that. It's amazing to hear them say, well, I'm Barry Bonds, or I'm hitting like this because I'm Mark McGwire, or something along that line. I can remember teaching my son how to hit. He couldn't hit a lick. He missed every ball, and And I asked him.
Sounds like a future pitcher to me.
No, I was just trying so hard to help him hit. And he said, well, if you'd let me hit the way I want to hit, then I could hit the baseball. And so I said, well, how do you want to hit? He goes, well, I want to hit like Mark McGwire. And this is the year I spent in St. Louis. So I said, all right, hit like Mark McGwire. So he spreads his feet way out. He's got his bat waving way over his head. He looks more like Sheffield than he does McGwire. But guess what? He starts hitting. And I didn't try to change a thing. If he believed it, I believed it.
Good job, Coach.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
That's great.
Just encouraging.
JT waves at it. And Laz Diaz at third base says he struck out. Jason Simontachi has done a pretty good job of settling this ball game down for the Cardinals.
It doesn't look like to me that JT goes on this pitch, but it is 7-2 in the sixth, and a lot of times the swings look like they're a little further when the game gets a little crazy.
Here's Marquise Grissom, who scored a couple of runs and singled today. And he's got another base hit.
I wonder if Grissom went to the plate looking for a breaking ball that time, since he's seen about 15 in a row.
Anything that's in that strike zone, I'm hacking. He turned on it. He's on base for the second consecutive time with a base hit after reaching on fielders' choices and scoring 2 runs.
From the side view, you couldn't tell if that was a fastball or a breaking ball, but I assure you that was a slider middle away. And Grissom had to be looking for it. Probably moved up a little bit closer to plate, catch that ball a little bit earlier.
Here's Jose Cruz Jr. What a great couple of weeks he's had for the Cruzes. His younger brother Enrique played second base on the College World Series championship team at Rice. Jose, of course, played there. Lance Berkman played there. That little school down in Houston producing some talent.
That Rice club this year had 7 guys that could throw the ball over 90 miles an hour. They've got 2 guys right now that are sophomores that are, one of them is 6'3", 235, and their number 1 pitcher, Jeff Neiman, is 6'9", 265. He looks like a right-handed Randy Johnson. Wow. I was telling Walt Jocketty before the ball game, I said, if you got a chance to draft this guy, better do it. He can throw 3 pitches for a strike right now in college.
Neiman 17-0, and how about the number 1 draft choice of the Giants, David Aardsma, the Rice closer.
Aardsma throws the ball 95, 96 miles an hour. I believe he got his first professional save just the other night.
They got him at A-ball in San Jose right now.
He's the real deal.
0-2 to Cruz. That ball gets away. Down into the bullpen. Grissom takes a look, and he will stop at second base. And that is the 3rd St. Louis error of the day.
Well, I believe Simontachi is going to get this error, but I don't think Pujols ever saw this baseball. I think when Simontachi turned to throw, Marquise Grissom wasn't watching.
That ball was just over the runner, and Albert couldn't even reach for it.
Right.
Wow. Another runner in scoring position for the Giants, who've already scored 7 today. Cruz has driven in 4.
You still got to catch that ball if you're the first baseman. I don't think that ball was that far away from first base.
Jose Cruz Jr. signed by the Giants as a free agent at the end of January. He was originally drafted by Atlanta in '92. Didn't sign, went to Rice, where he was a 3-time All-American. And now he's gone for the second out this inning as Simontachi gets his 3rd strikeout. And Edgardo Alfonso will try to continue his perfect day. A single up the middle, 1 on the infield, and 1 to right field last time up. So he's staying on the ball and using the ballpark right now.
As long as he's hitting the ball the other way, Alfonso will be fine. Too many times you start to struggle. You start trying to pull the ball and start trying to be too aggressive. And that takes you away from the strength of your game. As we see Simontachi, he realizes, too, that Alfonso's strength is middle away, and that first pitch is up and in.
Well, Edgardo hit a lot of home runs in '99, 27 of them, 25 the following year when he went to the All-Star game. Well, sometimes guys start believing they're a big power hitter. get away from what they do best.
Well, the reason Alfonso was able to drive the ball is he kept that front shoulder in, and he's got a quick bat. He can hit the ball inside, but when you start thinking about the ball middle in, it takes you away from your strength, or at least in his situation, it took him away from his strength, which is hitting the ball from the middle of the plate away.
2-0 pitch right in there.
We heard Jim Edmonds talking earlier about driving the bottom hand to the baseball, and it allows you to wait a little bit longer, and you don't jump, you don't guess, you don't try to get out in front of the ball. You wait for the ball to come to you. The only way you can do that is to look for the ball middle away and react to the ball in.
And a 2-hopper on the right side for Bo Hart. That'll do the Giants in the 6th. Coming up in a moment, we're going to compare the first 3 years of Barry Bonds when he was with the Pirates and the great young Cardinal, Albert Pujols.
Now this here, that's the drain plug.
Them and is now working out of the bullpen and has been quite busy this year.
He has been busy, and a lot of this Giants bullpen has performed very well, especially in the absence of Rob Nin. Tim Worrell at the end of the ball game. Felix Rodriguez has pitched very well, much better than he did last year. And Joe Nathan has just been a workhorse, being the transition from starter to setup man and closer. And anytime that you can have a bullpen, especially with the relative youth and inexperience of this bullpen and being able to do as well as they have, I think that's a big credit not only to them but also to their pitching coach, Dave Righetti. As we know, Righetti, when he's in a Yankees uniform, he pitched both as a starter and as a closer, and I think having that experience really allows him to relate to these pitchers both from a starting standpoint and how you get it done in the bullpen.
1 for 2 for Edgar Renteria today. Came into the ball game at .330, 4th best in the National League. And he goes upstairs and strikes out on a high fastball. Well, it's time to do our comparison. Look at the first year of Barry Bonds in '87 with the Pirates, Albert Pujols. Pujols, the far and away dominant numbers there. Second year, no contest. As Albert batted .314, nearly 40 home runs. And in the third year, well, it's even more of a difference right now. What will this young man be able to accomplish if he can stay healthy 15 or 20 years?
Well, we talked about Albert Pujols being able to make small adjustments during the game, and I think that's basically what it takes to be a great hitter. We've seen Barry Bonds year after year after year continually make the small adjustments, not only mentally but physically in his swing and in the way he approaches different pitchers. And I think by doing that, it's allowed him to put together a career maybe like no other hitter has ever put together.
Now, Albert will not be a member of the 500-500 club. Barry Bonds, the definite edge and speed. All the other numbers, though, go the way of the young man who moved to our country at the age of 16, settled in the Kansas City area, and now 250 miles to the east is making a nice living for himself in St. Louis, and that living will only get a whole lot better the next time contract time rolls around.
Well, let's make sure that everyone understands this is we're comparing starts of careers, and Albert Pujols has had a tremendous start to his career, but in order to put up the numbers that Barry Bonds has and some of the greater hitters in the game, that comes with longevity, and it comes with work ethic, and it comes with adjustments and being comfortable and staying healthy. And the only way that you can do that is keeping yourself healthy and working hard and having a little bit of luck in between. When we saw the Barry Bonds swing earlier in that, the one thing that Barry's done over his career is his swing has been very, very similar. I think the adjustments that Barry has made have been from the mental standpoint. Early in his career, you wanted to get Barry out, you got him out inside. You couldn't get him out away.
J.D. Drew takes a breaking ball that comes back into the strike zone, and that's 2 Ks for Joe Nathan starting off the 7th.
I was talking with Barry just yesterday as we see this breaking ball on the backdoor side. A lot of left-handed hitters, when right-handed pitchers are on the mound, that pitch looks like it's in the other batter's box. It looks like a ball, and you give on it just for the slightest instant, there's no way you can pull the trigger.
Mike Matheny, the batter. This guy has been a real Iron Man for the Cardinals this year. He's missed less than 150.
So we, according to Danielle Makpani, stepped on her extended.
Because of some continued neck and back problems. Doesn't sound like anything serious. That's the official term the Cardinals staff is using right now. And I don't know if he wrenched his back or his neck on that great diving play he made, but he'll have the rest of the day off. That was back in the 4th inning on a ball hit by J.T. Snow.
Well, I think that from Scott Rowland's perspective, because I talked with him about this, that I don't think it's a major problem. It's just something that they're going to have to monitor. The last thing that you want from his perspective is for this to get any worse.
Out to short. Matheny was reaching for that one. A.P. Perez throws him out, and the Giants bullpen dominates 7-2.
ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by Carrier, the world leader in heating and air conditioning since 1902. And GMC, presenting sponsor of the ESPY Awards, July 16th at 8 p.m.
Every seat is full at Pac Bell Park today. And we've got some company out on the water as well, where Jose Cruz Jr. splashed a homer back in the 1st. Tomorrow, a full menu of ESPN baseball, high definition presentation. On our day game, Braves and Mets at noon Eastern time. Atlanta's on a 4-game roll. Wednesday night baseball, Cardinals will be back home to take on the Dodgers at 7 Eastern. The Red Sox and Blue Jays at that same time on ESPN2. Boston 4, Toronto 7 back of the Yankees in the American League East. Regional coverage features the Yankees at Cleveland. Log on to ESPN.com for more on Major League Baseball. Couple of relievers going a long, long way today. Though Simon Tachi more of a starter. He's in his 5th inning of work. Jim Brower went 4 1/3 for the Giants, and he's the pitcher of record with that nice W to swoop in on today.
And I think this is a great relief appearance from Simon Tachi, because he was passed over for this start today in favor of Danny Herron. And basically, Simon Tachi's gone out there and pitched like a champ. I mean, this may give him an opportunity in Tony La Russa's mind to maybe have another start.
His record's not bad at 6-4, but in 16 starts, 15 of those, 16 appearances, 15 of those starts, his ERA was a frightening 6.64. A.P. Perez lifting one to left center, tailing back toward the left fielder. Eduardo Perez has it. Barry Bonds hit a home run here last night, over 470 feet, way out there to center field. It's 490 to the batter's eye. It landed just in front of the batter's eye, and it did some damage to the concession stand out there, which is invisible to us as we look out. There's a perspective on how far that is from home plate. This ball well hit by Pedro Feliz, and Edmonds cruises for it. Concessionaire out there saw Barry Bonds do some damage last night.
Ball is coming from over there. Watching on TV. Hit right there. Bang. Bang. Big scramble for the ball, and the man got the ball. One little kid scramble.
Well, why not? Home run number 639. There's a line drive off the bat of Torrealba. Speared by Bo Hart, and that quickly the Giants are gone in the 7th, up by 5.
Morning. Good morning. Hiring that mascot to promote your new breakfast bar was a great idea.
Yeah. Cinnamon rolls! Get them while they're hot, hot, hot! Go, 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 go! Get your cinnamon rolls! Yes! Go, 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 go! Cinnamon rolls!
He doesn't work here.
Go, 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 go! Oh, hot and delicious, cinnamon rolls, cinnamon rolls.
Get water. As active as you. Propel Fitness Water. With flavor to hydrate and vitamins to nourish. It's how Gatorade does water.
To be at the ballpark. A lot of kids and a lot of families here at Pac Bell today, soaking in some of this China Basin sun in beautiful downtown San Francisco. Jamin Simon Tachi pitched 5 1/3, very good innings for the Cardinals today, and he will give way to a pinch hitter here. Joe Nathan will face Orlando Palmeiro in the top of the 8th. As you said, Jeff Brantley, Jason Simon Tachi, nothing to hurt his future prospects at all. 1 run over 5 1/3.
Well, you can say that the Giants had a large lead and there was no pressure on him, but I can tell you this from Simon Tachi's standpoint, and I'm sure Tony La Russa is looking at it the same way. He pitched 5 1/3 innings against a ball club that's swinging the bat quite well, and he threw a lot of strikes. That's my biggest concern. And I think from a Cardinals standpoint, if you can get a guy that can just go out there and give you a decent, I don't mean a great game, just give me a decent game where you keep my club in the ball game until the 6th or 7th inning, Cardinals got a pretty good chance to win with the lineup they run out there with.
Palmeiro hits the ball sharply into right field. Such a good, useful player for years with the Angels. And the Cardinals brought him over this year. Guy with a .281 career batting average at the age of 34. Hit over 300 for the Angels a couple of years ago. Not any power, but he's a good line drive guy to lead off an inning in that fashion. Here's another in Bo Hart. 1 for 3 with a triple today as the rookie. Young man from Creswell, Oregon, who went to college at one of our favorite basketball schools, Gonzaga University in Spokane, home of the Zags, where Mark Few is doing such a wonderful job coaching that school right now. Only 4 years ago, taken deep in that draft. He won't be 27 until September.
Well, you can't look at it from where you were drafted. It's what you do after you get drafted. If you've got an opportunity to play, and this is where a lot of guys make this mistake, Bob. If you've got a uniform, you still get a chance to play. As long as you have that uniform, you've still got a chance. And if you look at it in a different perspective, you say, well, you know, they didn't call me up, they called this other guy up, or, you know, I'm not getting to pitch here and I'm not getting to play there. Hey, if you've got the uni, you still got a chance to play. If not, you could always be sacking groceries.
And Bo Hart is gone as Nathan gets him. That'll be Joe Nathan's 3rd strikeout in the 4 batters he's retired. Scott Ayers, the left-hander. Hard-throwing Felix Rodriguez, number 47, starting to dig his spot there.
And both of those guys have pitched quite well for the Giants bullpen this year. Really done a great job getting the ball to closer. And yes, I mean closer, Tim Worrell. Worrell has pitched tremendous. His ERA is below 2.
Their bullpen record, 16 wins, 9 losses, and 24 saves. They have blown 8 saves this year, but that's to be expected with Rob Nen unavailable. And right now, Tim Worrell, the younger brother of the great Cardinal closer Todd Worrell, is their primary guy with 20 saves down there. Jim Edmonds has a sac fly and a double today. He's extended his hitting streak to his last 6 games. Capacity crowd on a gorgeous day at Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. Bob Carpenter, Jeff Brantley. And SportsCenter follows our action here today on our Tuesday afternoon ESPN day game.
You can see Nathan going up in the strike zone, 0-2 there, but that ball was up enough to where it changed the eye level of Jim Edmonds, but it didn't allow him to swing at it. If you've been watching Jim Edmonds of late, you know that if you leave a fastball in the middle of the plate, chest high. He's going to hit it a long way.
And the 1-2 pitch. Nasty pitch, low and inside Torrealba with a good play to his right. Well, the Giants trying to win their 55th game of the year. They would go 21 games over the 500 mark, and 12 of those right here at home. Only Seattle with 32 errors, playing better defensively in baseball than the Giants right now.
And I'm still amazed that the Giants have been able to play this well with all of the subtractions they had last year.
Well, Jim Edmonds talking about hitting high fastballs. That one a little too far up there.
Well, what Joe Nathan is trying to do here is continue to change eye levels. You see a breaking ball for a strike, a fastball that's down and in, and they try to go up with this fastball, even though it's not a contact fastball, continuing to change eye levels. And when you continue to change an eye level, even for a guy that's a good high fastball hitter, you can make him think, yes, that's the pitch that I usually hit, but as you saw, that pitch was up and way out of the strike zone. Very difficult to decipher when you've got to make a decision in less than a split second.
Well, the Cardinals still have 4 outs to work with today, and a long ball from Albert Pujols here would get them to within striking distance. What does Dusty call that?
Back within slam reach.
Slam reach, I like that. They're one beyond slam reach right now. Pujols offered at it, went around, says Jim Reynolds, and quickly the count 0-2.
You can see Pujols really being a little over-aggressive to the baseball, especially the ball that's away from him. He looks like he's cheating a little bit on the inside. Maybe he got jammed somewhere along the line. A lot of times that in itself, one pitch will put hitters in a slump, making them jump at the baseball when somebody jams you along the line. But all of these pitches from the Giant pitchers today to Pujols have been away.
Runner going as Pujols flies one to right center. Marquise Grissom using that glove to shield his eyes, and the Cardinals are gone in the 8th inning. They've left only 4 today, and they've been outscored 7-2.
Coming up on SportsCenter, the latest on COVID.
Of Maximology that the best things in life come to the men of America. These women have worked day and night, well, mostly nights and a few long weekends, to create the only hair color good enough to be called Maxim. The easy way to get highlights, chips, all over color. Only a Maxim girl has what it takes to make a Maxim man.
Maxim hair color. The only hair color good enough to be called Maxim in the men's grooming section. You're approved.
Albert Pujols, well, having a bit of a tough day. Does have an RBI hit today, his 81st of the year.
All of the pitches from the Giants pitchers today have been away from him. And as you can see, Pujols pulling off of the baseball. All of these pitches right on the outside corner, and he's beating him into the ground, opening up that front shoulder. Even when he got the base hit on the changeup away with a runner at second, he still pulled that shoulder out a little bit, even though he got enough extension to get the ball into left field.
Bottom of the 8th inning at Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. Giants on top 7-2. 40-year-old left-hander Jeff Fassero out of the Cardinal bullpen here.
Fassero is going to throw fastballs that sink just a little bit, split finger, and a cutter inside. Galarraga, how about the age differential we've got with this pitcher-batter confrontation here?
Yeah, Jeff is actually 2 years younger than the man he's trying to get out. And the big cat. Deep left center. Orlando Palmeiro can only watch it fly away. 8-2 San Francisco.
Well, this has been a perfect 1-2 punch for the Giants, with J.T. Snow and tremendous defense at first base and being able to spot start and pinch hit with the big cat, Andres Galarraga. He can still hit that ball away from him as well as he could when he came to the big leagues.
The big cat with his 7th homer of the year. That's his 4th pinch hit RBI this season. And the Giants have opened up a huge lead again. 8-2 now, bottom of the 8th. Ray Durham back at the top of the order now, 1 for 4 with a double.
You know, and Bob, if you took a guy like Galarraga and you tried to run him out there every day at first base, I don't know that at his age he could handle it physically. But when you use him the way that Philippe Alou has done, and an occasional starting at first base in relief of J.T. Snow, or using him in a pinch hit role, I mean, he's been tremendous this year for this ball club.
Yeah, there's some intangibles that go along with him too. Clubhouse guy, leader.
Great.
393 home runs now for the Big Cat. He's 7 away from 400. And only 35 players in the history of baseball have hit 400 home runs. Jeff Bagwell will probably be the next one to reach that level. Durham flying out to J.D. Drew for the first out here in the 8th.
Well, I had the opportunity to play with Galarraga while we were in Texas. We also played together on the All-Star Tour when we went to Japan, and it's amazing the joy, even a guy that's played as long as he has, you can see it in his face how much he enjoys playing the game, and it's just it makes you raise your level of intensity when you have a guy like him on your team.
Here's J.T. Snow, 0 for 3 with a walk. By the way, today at Wrigley Field, the Marlins lead the Cubs 2-0 in the 8th inning. And guess who's pitching?
Dontrell.
The incomparable Dontrell Willis. He's got a shutout going. Buck Martinez and I were just shaking our heads a couple of weeks ago when we saw him pitch the one-hitter against the Mets when he beat Tom Glavine. He has not let up since, and he is emerging as the most amazing rookie story, at least on the mound, in the league this year.
Well, Dusty Baker said he hadn't had a chance to see him pitch. I can understand that, and that's a legitimate excuse, but he's seen him pitch today.
Hey, a lot of people in Chicago haven't seen him pitch after the Cubs traded him away in the Alfonseca deal.
He is definitely putting it together. Horacio Ramirez in Atlanta is putting together quietly a pretty good season himself.
J.T. Snow gets himself an infield hit with 1 out here in the 8th. Well, another look at the great lineup of baseball we've got tomorrow. Braves and Mets at noon Eastern on ESPN Day Game, available in high-definition television. Wednesday night baseball, Dodgers Cardinals in St. Louis at 7. And the Red Sox and the Blue Jays at the same time over on ESPN2. Regional coverage has the Yankees at Cleveland. Check your local listings. By the way, former Giant Russ Ortiz for the Braves and Tom Glavine struggling for the Mets right now. And the Cardinals will throw Brett Tomko tomorrow against Kaz Ishii of the Dodgers.
Let's go back to Dontrell Willis just for a minute. I know that he has done everything probably to deserve an all-star selection, but I'll be honest with you, Bob, not making that all-star team may be the best thing that could ever happen to him in his career, because he'll never forget it. Anytime that you're a young player and you feel like you should get certain credit or certain accolades and you don't get them, it makes you take the game in a little bit different perspective. And you know what? That will be a tremendous fuel for his fire for the rest of his career, because he'll never take anything in this game for granted.
Well, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to be on the next 10 or 12 all-star teams. He is amazing. Fun to watch, works quick, and he's got good stuff and knows how to use it. 2 balls and a strike to Marquise Grissom. He gets jammed by Jeff Becerra, and a little pop-up over there. Mike Matheny gets to it with a one-handed basket catch for the second out.
Anytime you see a catcher run that far for a pop-up, I don't care how easy it looks on TV. When you're carrying an extra 10 pounds of gear and you've got to catch a ball that's spinning backwards, this is not an easy play. He's got to go a long way. Number one, you've got something covering your face. You've got to find the baseball. Then you've got to run and get it. And then you've got to make sure it gets in your glove that looks like a pancake without popping out.
That's a Gold Glove catcher, Mike Matheny. The University of Michigan is Mike. In fact, his wife, Kristen, was a great field hockey player there.
Had a few
so he might be the second best athlete in that family.
They've had a few good baseball players come out of Michigan.
Yeah, they have.
I remember playing them in the regional in Starkville back when I was still in college in 1985. They had a few players on that club.
And a breaking ball for a strike to Jose Cruz Jr., who now turns around. That's from the right side against Jeff Massaro. From that side of the plate, he's at 289. Evidently, nobody gave you a whole lot of problems in '85, Jeff. You were 17-2.
18-2, actually.
Did we miss one, Marty?
I did have one win in the World Series.
All right. Okay. Well, that certainly counts.
That Michigan team had some great ball players. Barry Larkin, Hal Morris, Mike Waters, who made it to the big league, Kamenecki. I mean, they had a few big leaguers on that club. We were very fortunate to get past them and have a chance to play in the College World Series.
Ball in the dirt. Cruz strikes out, and the Giants are gone in the 8th, but they put another on the board. Galarraga homers. Cardinals down by 6. Pac Bell Park on this Tuesday afternoon. Felix Rodriguez is out there for the 9th inning to close it out. They have had 6 1/3 innings of 1-run, 3-hit ball from their bullpen so far.
And that's what it takes when your starter's knocked out early in the ball game. As Reeder wasn't really knocked out, but with a shoulder problem, but he was out of the ball game. The bullpen's got to take over, and this has been a strength of this ball club. And you would never believe that the bullpen would be a strength of the Giants ball club minus a pitcher like Rob Nin, but so far it has been.
And they haven't walked anybody. Second at bat today for Wilson Delgado, who came in to replace Scott Rowland in the 6th. Bounced out that time up.
You know, anytime as a bullpen you can keep a ball game close and you've got a left fielder like Barry Bonds, you know one swing of the bat could produce a victory as long as you keep the ball game close.
And Delgado hits the ball sharply to center, backs up Grissom, and he's got it for the first out. Interesting words from Barry Bonds here in the last day or so about what the future may hold for him. He's talking about how the Giants, of course, being a National League club, want him out there every day. He just doesn't think he's going to be able to do that. End up in the other league, DH, maybe somewhere out here on the West Coast. And Barry Bonds, by the way, is signed through the 2006 season by the Giants right now.
Well, I think that every ball player, especially a player of Bonds' offensive caliber, you know somewhere along the line that your legs are not going to be able to carry you in that outfield anymore. And I mean, Bonds is not a first baseman. I mean, he's an outfielder, and if he can get a couple of extra years from a DH perspective, who wouldn't want to have him? But I can't imagine this town not having Barry Bonds. I think this stadium, this whole atmosphere, all of this is because of what Bonds has done. I can't imagine him in another uniform, I'll be honest with you.
Yet to a certain extent, this ballpark is the house that Bonds built.
Well, let's think about it, Bob. I mean, if you didn't have Barry Bonds on this ball club, do you really believe that you could excite this town about baseball the way that they have? You could never have done it at Candlestick. Could you have built this ballpark and excited the people the way that they have here without Barry Bonds? I don't think so.
No. 5-time MVP player. Perez into left. Unable to reach that one. Feliz and Eduardo Perez heading into second base. And that'll be his first base hit today. And for the Cardinals, only their 6th hit against the Giants. Looks like Feliz just pretty much missed that thing.
Yeah. Tough to judge those balls down by the shoe tops. That was definitely a catchable baseball.
They give Eduardo Perez a double. Edgar Renteria 1 for 3 with a bunt base hit.
So you give a guy a double because the outfielder doesn't bend over. Interesting.
And the ball appeared like it might have just ticked off the edge of his webbing. Well, you got the league's best defense. Now that glove could have made that play had you been able to hoist that thing out there.
Well, there is definitely a difference between an infielder's glove and an outfielder's glove, usually about 2 inches. Still should have caught.
I don't think that glove will ever have a ball in it. It's more than 500 feet away from home plate.
I don't know. Barry Bonds plays here.
If he was right-handed, maybe. Out to right field for Jose Cruz Jr. Eduardo Perez tagging and going to third. And the Giants are 1 out away from their 55th win of the year. In a ball game where they gave up a run in the first, got 3 in the bottom on a Jose Cruz Jr. home run, 3 more in the second, and with a good bullpen, Felipe's Giants have been cruising ever since.
55 wins, and they've still got a few games to go before the break. That is incredible.
Only a 2-game sweep, but a sweep nonetheless, being celebrated out there in right center field. And again, the Giants own the Cardinals right now. This will be 5 out of 6. And it'll be 9 of 11 going back to the league championship series last year. J.D. Drew goes up hacking and fouls it away. He's 0 for 3 today. And Drew 0 for his last 14.
And I don't think you can make that comment about too many ball clubs in baseball that they own the St. Louis Cardinals. It just doesn't happen very much. But so far, like you said, Bob, the Giants have had the Cardinals number for one reason or another.
In the 6 games they've met this year, St. Louis will score 1 run 4 times and 2 runs 1 time today, unless Drew drives in a run or 2 here.
How great is this matchup, though? 2 towns that really are supporting Major League Baseball from a Cardinals perspective and from a Giants perspective. You've got to love it when you have this many people that come to the ballpark to see a ball game that's really not a rivalry. I mean, you would expect it from a Cubs or Cardinals or Giants, Dodgers, but when you get this many people coming to the ballpark, this is fantastic. This is the best part about the game right here from a reliever's perspective. You start getting the fans on their feet, cheering, your heart starts beating 100 miles an hour.
And you're up by 6.
It doesn't matter.
1 ball and 2 strikes as the Giants try to close out the 2-game sweep.
This is when you want to throw it about 100 miles an hour.
St. Louis's road record will fall to 20-25 on the year. Cardinals evidently won't lose any ground to the Cubs. They now trail 4-0 in the 8th to the Marlins.
And Dontrell.
Yeah, the Astros are hosting the Reds later this evening. Cardinals fly home tonight, play the Dodgers on ESPN tomorrow night. J.D. Drew flips the bat out and gets a base hit. He will make the turn and go to second. Perez scoring, and it's now 8-3.
Well, there's not too many right-handed pitchers that are going to throw the ball by J.D. Drew. You've got to mix it up a little bit. He's got one of the sweeter swings. If he could keep himself healthy, he would make an even better offensive addition to this Cardinal lineup. I think the biggest key is for him just to keep that knee in good condition.
J.D. Drew with his 26th run batted in. That breaks an 0 for 14. Mike Matheny, the batter now, 0 for 2 with a walk.
You never want to make the last out, Bob. It doesn't matter if it's 8-3 or 2-1.
Cardinals in the middle of a bizarre schedule. Flew out here Sunday night from Chicago. Played 2 games. They go home tonight. Then they're back on the West Coast next week to play the Dodgers and the Padres.
Who's making this schedule?
That's exactly what a lot of the Cardinal traveling party is wondering. Matheny with a bouncer, left side, stabbed by Alfonso, and the game is over. Giants strike early and often and beat the Cardinals 8-3.
Well, they got some great pitching in the middle of the ball game from Brower, and this bullpen has done a great job for the Giants. Keeps them in the hunt.
That's Jeff Brantley. I'm Bob Carpenter. Sports Center is coming your way on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Hope you enjoyed some day baseball. Jose Cruz Jr., the star, in San Francisco today.